The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside a Friday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. Ty, why are you smirking right now?
Oh, no, just a great day. Just a great day.
And before we go anywhere, we have DJ Yoakley hopping on Running Point here, so we're going to bring him on, and he has something to say. So, DJ, take it away.
Unfortunate news out of Lisbon last night, guys, and it's tough for us to even discuss it because we don't know all of the situation. But there was just an unfortunate situation in the community of Lisbon, and we just want everybody to know out in Lisbon that our thoughts and prayers are with the Lisbon community. It's with the Lisbon football team, the athletic department, and the entire community of Lisbon. Today we've asked all of our announcers, or the people that work with YSN, to rally around the community of Lisbon by wearing blue in support for the unfortunate situation, in support of the people to have their hands reached out in the direction of Blue Devil Nation. We love you. We're thinking about you. We're in this with you. And if there's anything that we can do at YSN from the top down, we're going to do it. So I reached out to a couple of the folks at Lisbon today, still going through, obviously, the steps. And there's not a whole lot we can say about it. We don't want to shine a light on anything negative. And that's been the go-to for YSN since day one. But when tragedy strikes, we try to step up. So we're asking communities to pray for Lisbon, for the school, for the students, for the family, and for everybody involved in that situation, because it's not one that anybody wants to go through ever in your life, as a parent, as a teammate, as an administrator, as a neighbor. So we're asking everyone, if you find it in your heart to support and to show your support, wear blue today of all days, or this weekend at some point. But mostly pray for Lisbon, pray for the community, pray for the family, and again, pray for the students and everybody that was involved, because these things should not happen. These things, it's never, ever, 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 ever that bad that you can't reach out for help. We have great people that we work with here, that are supporters of us at YSN and why we do it, because it's more than a game. It's kids' lives, and we did the primetime live yesterday at Cheney, and Coach Emil had so much to say about this, and it's not just about football. So if you're out there, certainly, I mean, you can find the articles all over the place, and it's all over. We're not going to highlight that. We're a sports company, but we still know that has something to do with sports. He was a member of the football team. And unfortunate news out of Lisbon. Last night, we got it this morning, and we are wearing blue in honor of Lisbon, the community, because we're in this fight with you. So if there's anything we can do, Lisbon, just reach out, and we'll do everything we can to make it a little bit of an easier grieving process for you. So on behalf of all of us at YSN, again, thoughts and prayers to the entire Lisbon community. Anthony, thanks for having me on, and I'll let you guys do what you do.
Yeah, and one of the things we know, communities in the YSN family are great, and the few tragedies that we've had in our span of YSN, communities have stepped up. So
No, absolutely, and we've been devastated with fires and all, people passing and cancer and everything with it, and unfortunately this just adds another layer to that. So, again, thoughts and prayers from all of us at Your Sports Network to everybody in the Lisbon community. We love you. Lisbon's been a long time supporter of us at YSN, and we're here for them too in their time of darkness. So, praying for this family that I can't even begin to imagine. I can't. And again, there's help out there. There's people that'll help you get through situations. This is for everybody: student athletes, parents, families. It's never a situation where somebody can't help you. It's never that bad. It's never worth finality. We'll just leave it at that. So, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me get this on the top of your show, and have a great show.
you never want to, you never want anyone to go through what Lisbon's going through. But I'm wearing blue, Ty's wearing blue, and we are definitely backing the Lisbon community, and we will truck on and journey on as the Lisbon community will have to do as well. We still have a fun show on a Friday, not exactly the way we planned on starting, but life, today's a dose of reality a little bit, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes these type of things, they happen, and unfortunate. And like you said, Anthony, it's a dose of reality sometimes. And sports being one of those things that helps us escape from the mundane day to day reality that we all have to go through. It just is kind of unfortunate when both of those things kind of have to bleed into each other in a situation like this that's happened. And yeah, it's something you never want to happen, and it's something you hope nobody ever has to go through. But as you said, we're all wearing blue, and we're expecting a blue out tonight for YSN. And you don't see me wearing blue very much, and it's not my type of color. I'm usually a red man, and I think one of the only blue shirts I own is this tank top. But you know what? I'm rocking a tank top tonight, calling some football. So I mean, we're all with you, Lisbon. We're supporting you. We're Lisbon strong with you tonight.
I do not have that problem.
Yeah, of course. You being a Royals fan, I don't think you have many problems with owning blue shirts.
But we're gonna truck on. We have a good show planned for you on this Friday, and let's start with recapping the volleyball action that we were able to call. You had a good game at Fitch. Fitch fights through some adversity and is able to get the win despite losing Aaron Burke as a setter early in the match, right?
Yeah, I believe it was in the first set. Aaron Burke goes down. Didn't see the initial injury. I believe, though, all reports that I heard were initially good. I think Coach Bartlett initially thinks that she should be good to play the season. Obviously, we're going to keep and tune in there and make sure we get all the updates and make sure that she's all right. She was walking under her own power and looked like she had either a wrist injury. I don't know. It was just one of those hard spills of volleyball. Hopefully, she's okay. A little bit of ice and maybe a little bit of rest. She should be back out on the court. But yeah, coming in and losing your setter, and Sammy Missick comes in and shines for the Lady Falcons as a setter and does exactly what she needs to do. And it was Missick going to Jocelyn Jordan all night. And again, Jocelyn Jordan proving why putting her on the outside is a problem. And don't count out that those Howland Lady Tigers, Courtney Clark is also a problem on that Howland team. Can single-handedly fill up the box score in multiple categories, is an incredible digger, can set, can go for a variety of kills, and is just a very, very all-around smart volleyball player. And then you saw Jamie DeSalvo too coming in, getting huge stops, 2 blocks at the net. This is a Lady Tigers team that was actually very resilient and fought one of the area's best volleyball teams tooth and nail. Like I said, a 25-23 set win in set 2 for the Lady Falcons, and a 25-21 set win in set 3 for the Lady Falcons. So yes, it was a 3-0 set sweep, but the Howland Lady Tigers, especially in sets 2 and 3, were not going down easily.
And we've talked about resiliency. We have a highlight, and this was one of the great volleys, maybe great volleys of the season. It lasted, I believe, over a minute. Let's look at this volley ending in a kill for Austintown Fitch.
As Silvers again back yet again to serve. As Nice dig out. Gonna need to just get it over. Jocelyn Jordan sends it over. Setting it up is Moore. Going for the kill and saving it though is the Lady Falcons. Gonna need to get it over. Free ball set up for Howland. The setup to Moore. The kill from DeSalvo. Unable to fall in again. Able to save it. The setup for the kill from Jordan. Back and forth we go. Falcons have the opportunity. Free ball opportunity for Howland. Set up by Clark. They're going to need to get it over. Another free ball, this time to the Falcons. The setup for the kill. Jocelyn Jordan saves it. Back to it as Ellie Moore just sends it over again. The setup again. The kill again. The block at the net. Back to it. Missick with the setup. Hitting it back over. Courtney Clark again. The dig. Back to DeSalvo. Matlock. Hitting it back over. The setup by Missick. Going for the kill. Jocelyn Jordan coming away with the kill. And some back and forth volleyball action. Oh my goodness. What more can you ask for?
Wow. What a volley. What a call, Ty. I don't know how you do that without breathing. It felt like you didn't breathe at all.
It was hard too, because Solo Man trying to do camera work, keep up with some action. Yeah, getting into volleyball this year too, man. And I mean, still learning the lingo a little bit, still learning the ropes a little bit, but definitely starting to feel more comfortable calling the volleyball matches that I've been able to see. It's just it was hard, a little bit of camera work that could use some improvement going forward. But definitely a great volley, and I mean getting those in over a minute, and like you could just see how invested everyone is for that one kill. And talking with Jocelyn Jordan after that, she mentioned that too, and how that can get the blood moving and really get you pumped up to finish a set. When you finish a volley like that, you know how momentum can swing so drastically in volleyball. That is one of the keys, Anthony, that can make momentum swing back and forth.
And Ty, you did get a chance to catch up with Jocelyn Jordan. We have that for you. So let's listen to what Jocelyn Jordan had to say after Fitch's big win over Howland.
Welcome back, everybody, as we are here on YSNLive.com. The Lady Falcons winners over the Howland Tigers in 3 sets, win it 3-0. Jocelyn Jordan, our player of the game. Jocelyn, those are some hard-fought 3 sets, though.
Yes, they were.
Talking about these 3 sets and talking about, Aaron goes down, and, that's usually a big thing when it's for a team when their top setter goes down. Talk to me a little bit about what Miss Nick did for you guys and how important she was taking over that setter role going forward.
Right. Sammy is very confident, and we have her set every practice just in case something like that would happen, which is very misfortunate for us, but I'm sure Aaron will be back soon. And Sammy did a great job. She really stepped up for us tonight.
Talk to me a little bit about your play. The one play I have to highlight too, and one that we're going to tag along with this. It felt like 5 minutes you guys went back and forth there, the one that ended with a kill for you. Did those type of kills really energize you? And talk to me about that kill, because it seemed like from that point on you guys finished the game.
Right. It's just after such a long play, you put that ball away. It's just such a great feeling to know that you ended that play. And after that, you just feel more confident in your play. And I think it energizes your teammates because they fought hard during that whole time too.
Talk to me a little bit about your teammates too. I mean, you guys, several times you guys were up big on Howland. Howland was able to make those comebacks, but in the end, you guys put them away before they were able to complete that comeback. Talk to me about the resiliency of this team and how you guys were able to battle through Howland's comeback efforts.
I think all of us have very strong-minded, strong mindsets, and it's I'm not losing this game. I'm going to win, and we all know what we have to do to come back from that and win those hard points.
Looking ahead, you got another tough matchup Saturday against Marlington, another one of those tough volleyball teams. Looking at that matchup, what are you taking personally for yourself that you feel like you need to be better at in your game going into that matchup?
Personally, I just think I need to be smarter where I put the ball. Most of the times I just put it wherever I can, but I just need to try and shoot more across.
Jocelyn Jordan, our player of the game for
Thank you.
YSNLive.com. Winners of the Falcons 3-0 over the Howland Tigers. We'll be back with our interview with Coach Bartlett right after this.
Thank you for having me.
And that was Jocelyn Jordan, last night's player of the game in the Austintown Fitch win over Howland in 3 sets. And Jocelyn Jordan had an impressive day. And I think we're going to be talking to her a lot more as this year goes on.
Yeah, one of the captains for the Lady Falcons with her and Alyssa Leskovac. And I mean, you could tell why both of those players stepped up big especially when Aaron went down. We talk about what Sammy Missick did at center. I mean, what Alyssa and Jocelyn did, exactly what captains need to do. Stepped up when the team needed them, put them on their shoulders, and were able to lead their team to victory. Even a couple of times when Howland, even being down big to the Lady Falcons, came back, tied the game, took a lead a couple of times. But the Lady Falcons were able to thwart those comeback efforts.
Yeah, and a lot of great volleyball last night. We'll go over some of the other results as the show goes on. I was in United. The East Palestine Bulldogs were able to come into Hanoverton and take the match 3-1. And when you look at that, they lost the first set. They came back. And Maya Lee, man, she was impressive. My first chance to see her play in person. And East Palestine gets a big win in the EOAC moving forward.
Yeah, it seems like a huge win too. And I mean, in that tough EOAC conference, you're going to need them too, especially battling teams like Wellsville and all those teams down the stretch. You're going to need every win within the EOAC that you can get. And as many out of conference games are just as important.
All right. And we're going to hear once again from Coach Bartley. You caught up with her as well. But before we do that, we're going to talk to South Range volleyball coach live on the show, Kathy Kamara. That'll be next after this quick break. Don't go anywhere on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman. WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Custom order your Ford your way at Tri-State Ford. Choose the available features that fit your life and style, from the all-new 2022 Ford Maverick F-150 Lightning through the entire Ford lineup. Pick your color, trim level, and options. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. Start your custom order today. Stop in or visit tristateford.net. Customer-focused, community-driven. Tri-State Ford, East Liverpool.
And welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And as we continue this show, we bring in the head coach of the South Range volleyball team, Kathy Kamara. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, great to be here.
A very unique situation with how you took control of this program, and we all know what Coach Irons is going through and why he had to step away, and a little bit about the series of events that led to you coming back and taking this program. I know you were the coach a couple of years ago, and now you're coming back to kind of help out.
Sure. I had left the area to take a different career out of town, and then unfortunately because of COVID we began working remote. So I was in town, but actually had gone ahead and did I was actually going to be an official this year. So I went registered, and then the school reached out and I talked to TJ, and it seemed like a perfect fit for me to come and fill in for him this year. I consider it kind of like a substitute teacher for the year. And TJ's still very involved. He's behind the scenes helping us, but the day-to-day things I'm able to step in and help out. And it's been great because I knew even the younger girls, I've known them from, kids camp. And so it's been an easy transition back into the girls, and the program and the leadership have all been very supportive.
I don't think it's any question that what's going on over there in South Range is more than the sport of volleyball right now. Talk to me a little bit about how the girls are rallying right now, and a little bit about their energy and their mentality for this season.
Oh gosh. They have done a fabulous job stepping up all together. I have a variety of girls age-wise, and I have, we're a community. I think about even my own kids growing up with TJ's family, and, the community comes together. And so, sure, you might have your different dynamics, but all the way to, we wear our Team Iron shirts, we do fundraisers, the spirit and energy pulls together every day. It's been a chilling, I tell them all the time, every time I watch them do something, even the other day beating Boardman, I'm like, you all are just coming together. And I think it level sets you, and you realize that things are bigger than just yourself. And the girls have really matured and see that every day. So it's been pretty powerful.
How important do you think it was to have someone like you who knows the program, knows all the girls, come in and take this spot instead of someone that, from the outside, or someone that maybe isn't as familiar with everything that the program has, all the girls that are in the program? I imagine it's a big boost to have someone come in that has been there and knows the girls personally.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was, there's a ton of coaches out there, and there's a ton of young coaches that are looking to get into different schools. I think for me, it was a matter of, I wasn't coming in to change anything. They have an outstanding program. They have an outstanding group of girls. TJ and Kaylee did a lot of level setting last year. And so I came in with, I'm just going to kind of continue the lead. I'm not coming in to make any major changes. I'm mindful and respectful of where the girls are and what they need to do. And, we're lucky. We have a lot of kids that play off season all year. So I really get to enjoy creating the team with them and making sure that they can continue to grow as athletes. So for me to come in, it was just a perfect transition. And I, I'm very well aware that, and whatever I can do to support them next year, but, this is just like I said, almost like a substitute teacher for the year. And hopefully what I'm doing for TJ is creating a solid path for the girls to continue with their success.
I think for you guys to be successful in volleyball this season, it's going to come down to how you play against the NE8. Talk to me about how tough that NE8 conference is, and how you guys are going to need to play to be able to be competitive against that tough NE8.
Yeah. When we joined the NE8, we knew that we were, the one strong thing about being in that program is that we get pushed all year. We never get the luxury of letting down our guard. And sure, do we have some on and off nights? Yes. But I think it shows us that, yeah, we have good skills, we have good fundamentals, but now it's time to we need to increase our pace. We need to get stronger at anticipating what's happening on the other side and reacting quicker. So that's what we're focused on with the girls right now, is how do we speed it up? How do we make sure that we trust what we're seeing and we take advantage of the court? And that's what we said to even Maria Primavera the other day. You know what? A kill doesn't always have to be slamming the ball down. And her maturity level and how she plays the game, she'll tip it over the net. She'll look for holes in the court. Julia Blasco is just following right behind her. They're doing a great job of knowing what's going on, but we just got to get quicker, and we got to get to the block. Our number one defense has got to be block, not, I've got it. Reagan Irons back there to dig the ball, but they need to block it for her too.
Yeah, and you lost one of the area's best blockers he had Durham last year in Izzy Lamparty. But you got some new people stepping up. Ali Sauerwein is starting to develop into a strong blocker. What kind of things have you seen from the development of that net defense and trying to, you don't replace an Izzy Lamparty, but trying to just kind of fill that hole a little bit?
Yeah, Allie and Hannah are doing a great job of being aware that it's their job to speed that up. I think a lot of times you focus so much on your defense and serve, receive, and where's the defense. We play like a perimeter defense, so you got those three girls ready to go, and but they need to remember that the first line of defense is our block. And I think, like I said, Hannah and Allie, they're both, they're working with even Maddie Dato. She's young, and you figure she's on that left side, Brianna Heiner. So being mindful of where they're setting up that block and the quickness of Allie and Hannah reading what's going on is really going to be key for us.
Get this working. There we go. All right. Looking at for this upcoming season too. I mean, we already know what you guys have been able to do. You guys have pretty much powered your way through a lot of tough games early on. We know the Boardman wins, the Struthers, the Southeast wins. Coming up against two tough opponents though. You had your West Branch and your Jefferson loss. Now you're coming up against one of the toughest in the NE8 in Lakeview, but you do get them at home. This is one of those big statement games against one of the NE8's best and one of volleyball's best. Preview this Lakeview game a little bit for me and talk to me about what you expect from the Lakeview team and what you need to do for South Range to come away on top of this one.
Yeah, Lakeview. Every year, I give them a lot of credit. She runs that program well, and she does a nice job of building every year. Those girls, it's a lot to do with confidence too. We've got to get right up there with Lakeview right off the start. If we make a mistake, we've got to move on. We can't be, falling down and just kind of taking the hits from them. We've got to stay aggressive. The other schools we play, you see, when we start to take an easy, like maybe safe pass over, that's when we're set up to struggle. So we just need to go in strong. And in the next couple of days, we're just really going to work on teamwork and confidence. And like I said, running that block and making sure we're getting in front of them. That's the thing. We have to look just as strong. So they're going to underestimate us. That's going to be an advantage for us. But then we're going to have to go in strong just right from the start. Lakeview, like I said, it doesn't matter. They run a quick defense or a quick offense, and their serve's consistent. Everything they do is consistent. So we've just got to go point to point with them. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think we can be competitive, and we definitely have the girls that can win against Lakeview. They're not unbeatable.
We've talked about your net defense. We've talked about your hitters, but you have two setters that are both returning with experience in Sarah Coons and Jamie Farron. And the history of South Range setting has been a really good one. Madison Juliet, Emily Irons, and now the Farrons, and then Jamie and Sarah. I mean, the program has been blessed with just really good setters, and no different this year.
Yeah, both the girls, they're very consistent, and we've done a little bit of tweaking with them to see who do they set better, who's more comfortable with them, and I think we have that down. The other advantage we have, I mean, typically the opponent's going to try to take out our setter so that we're out of system. So the other nice thing that we have for us is, Reagan being able to take that second ball and give us options, because every time, we run a 6-2, so we have a lot of options on the net, and Jamie and Sarah they're still both young, but they're very coachable. They know what's going on in the court, and the girls really appreciate them. What we've been doing with them, though, is making sure that they're working on their defense too. So we have options. We always want to make sure, even if the setter's out, that we have an option to take a hit off the ball. So I love watching their energy. I love watching them get excited about what they do. We just, we're continuing to work on placement of the ball and court awareness. The other night, just letting Sarah know when everybody's bunched up on one side, just getting that move over, and she's doing a nice job of following through with that.
It's almost poetic knowing that you come back for a year and sort of a last dance, kind of last ditch effort to kind of come back coaching for a year. Talk to me a little bit about because this is a question I ask every coach, because usually coaches are their longevity, and it's what do you think your favorite thing is going to be at the beginning of the season, and we compare it to the end of the season. But for this one, we're going to have to change it up a little bit. What do you think your favorite thing is going to be about just coming back to South Range for this 1 year?
I think that my favorite thing about coming back this year is truly, well, first of all, it's being able to give back to the school and be there. It means a lot to me to have TJ's support and him and his girls and everybody wanting me to be back there. What I love about it is that they were young when I was there. So I get to watch these girls do it. And honestly, I know we've had a lot of great teams out of South Range, but the talent we have, if we can just pull them together, it's the best I've seen.
Talk about the coaches that are in this program from the middle school level to Coach Luckland as your assistant, and what kind of the coaches bring to this program, because we know as much as the head coach gets the praise and the limelight, they can't do it without a great staff.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the nice thing, especially with Kaylee, to have her, technically she's an assistant, but I look at her like a co-coach. Her passion for the game, her, the way she used to play, her experience, the fact that she always puts the kids first, and that we want to win, and we want our kids to be the best they can, not just as athletes, but as humans. So she's just a great person to coach with, and I love having her support and her court awareness, and just the way we partner up and back and forth. And then the 7th and 8th grade program, those ladies are really looking at trying to build the kids and promote volleyball as, a sport that, they can not just play during the season, but that they can play off season. And so I think that helps the program too, because, programs in the area who are doing well have a lot of kids that play the club travel ball. So the fact that they put the energy, Savannah and Marissa put the time in to coach those girls is outstanding. And we're fortunate to have them, as well as the athletic department and everybody that supports us.
Coach, my final question for you as we wrap up, or I wrap up my portion of the questions for this interview, and you could give me as much as you want. You could go as far as with this question as you want. What do you look to do different being Coach South Range 2.0 from the first time you were there?
I think what I look at different is the pushing the girls past where they're at right now, and really getting them to see that they really can, in Division III, they can hold their own. And I think in the past, South Range has always kind of felt like we're good, but we're probably not as good as, maybe a Crestview or some of those other teams in the state that are going further. And I honestly, that's my goal. I want these girls to be strong athletes and realize their potential. So I think if I could do anything different, it's going to be not accepting like, oh yeah, well, we lost because of X. We've got it, and we need to push through it and get aggressive. So that's going to be my primary. I want to see them go to state. I'm just going to throw it out there. I want them to go all the way. So they deserve it, and this group of girls needs to get there.
And when you look at this team and the players and the adverse situation that everyone's going through, what do you think is one thing that you would want these girls to take away from this year after it's over?
I think if they can walk away realizing the value of having other people around them, and that things are bigger than themselves, have emotion, be confident, be willing to experience things with each other, trust each other, resolve conflicts. I just think knowing that things are bigger than yourself, and knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that communities are going to step up, and people and your friends, and like I said, you're going to have moments of ups and downs, but just knowing that you're not alone, I think they need to see that. And they need to know, yeah, everybody's got stats, everybody's got things they do well, but we're not going to do anything well if we're not all together. And I think that they're seeing that.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the road today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Kathy Kamara, the interim head coach, I guess you would say, of South Range Volleyball, taking back the helm with TJ Aarons, obviously having to step down this year because of what he's going through. What a great conversation with her. And I think it's a great move by South Range to bring someone that had been there before and the girls are familiar with.
Well, yeah, it's probably the smartest move they could make without bringing someone in, because not many coaches are going to want to come in for a 1 year kind of show what you got and go, because like she said, she didn't want to come in and change anything from what TJ Irons has already implemented there with the team. And that was kind of, I think, the biggest takeaway from that whole conversation is that she's not coming in to change up the coaching style. She's coming in to simply fill in for Coach Irons. Yeah, she's going to have a little bit of her own mentality, but for the same thing, for the most part, this is the same way that Coach Irons was going to coach this team. And I think that's why she's doing it, is out of a sign of respect for Coach Iron and doing it for how he would want it to be done. And I think her expectations are right in line with what I think the South Range team can be capable of as well. And I think whenever you have situations when people are playing more for something more than sports, they all of a sudden become a lot more dangerous of a team.
They absolutely do. And when you look at South Range and the history of volleyball, and I love that the goal is like, let's go to state, which would be great because we haven't had a volleyball team make it out of regionals in quite some time. So if they can accomplish that goal, then raise the banner. Let's go.
I mean, and it's very well possible that they can. I mean, they can make deep runs. They're capable of making deep runs. All you need is that one special run. If you could put it together, I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, they had a tough night last night in Jefferson. We've talked about how hard that road trip is for teams, and South Range was a victim of that. They got swept by the Falcons in 3 sets, and the Falcons took away Maria Primavera and Julia Blasco. They both had 5 kills combined, and Taylor Skinner had double-digit blocks. So, Jefferson flexed a little bit on that road trip. South Range has to find a way to bounce back against Lakeview.
Good defense too, all around by Jefferson. And I mean, like we said, this is an NE8 conference that it's not gonna be a pushover conference. You're gonna have to go through the gauntlet. You're gonna have to win those conference games to get yourself a good place in that tournament. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing for South Range, is just how well they are going to play in that NE8.
I know that this isn't conventional, but let's go back to Fitch for a second, because you had a chance to also catch up with Coach Bartlett after the game, and we want to make sure we get that interview up as well. So here is what Coach Jody Bartlett had to say after Fitch's win over Howland.
As I'm here with the head coach of the Austintown Fitch Falcons, Jody Bartlett, as now 2-0 on the season, Coach. 3 straight sets against Howland, but I think you'd agree with me. Those were some pretty hard-fought sets.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely a nail-biter, and losing, our primary setter in set 1 obviously really changed things up. But, the girls know we've had a backup plan. Sammy Missick knows, if something happens with Erin, she's got to step up and set. And, I know we played a little up and down at times, but I think Sammy did a great job.
I was going to just ask you that, too. With Sammy stepping up, I think she did an incredible job, too. Our player of the game, though, was Jocelyn Jordan. And one of the plays that we are going to include with it, that 5-minute, basically, it felt like 5 minutes back and forth exchange. Talk to me. Is that something you coach your girls constantly to do when they get into those back and forth exchanges, coming out on top?
Yeah, we play 6-on-6 extremely competitively every day. That's usually what we end with. So they're used to, and a lot of times we will battle outsides hitting against one another, middles hitting against one another, right sides. We, switch up who the attackers are. So the setters are repeatedly setting those same spots. The girls love that. It really gets them going, really helps with them defensively. And that's what we needed to do tonight. And not taking anything away from Howland, their defense was great. They were blocking us, and Jocelyn had a great game, but I know they did get some blocks on her and sometimes unexpectedly on our end.
To talk a little bit about, and we asked Jocelyn this same question though, but it seemed like those last two sets, especially set 2 and set 3, Howland was having those comeback efforts. You guys took a big lead, but Howland was coming back into the game, but they couldn't finish that comeback. What does that speak to you from your team as a coach, seeing that your team was able to finish those games and thwart those comeback efforts from the Lady Tigers?
Well, and my girls, we talk all the time about being mentally tough, and I have them do a lot of things outside of practice to prepare for that, and so I think when things get tight, I tell them all the time, those stressful situations, it's really those teams that can stay calm, stay focused, and make good things happen that are going to finish.
Next up on the docket, Saturday against Marlington. It's going to complete the 3 games this week of tough matchup opponents. You guys handled yourselves well against the first 2. What is a little bit different looks you're expecting to see from this Marlington team, if you could preview this game upcoming Saturday?
Yeah, Marlington, I just know they're very aggressive, both offensively, defensively. I know she has a lot of returning seniors who are really strong players. We've seen them a little bit in the summer. I believe we played against them in Massillon at a day camp. I think they actually knocked us out of as we were moving towards the championship round. So they're always tough. We know we have to be on our A game, both defensively and offensively. And it's just going to be we'll kind of wait and see with Erin what's happening here. Hopefully she'll be able to play, but if not, Sammy knows she needs to step up and she'll do that if we need her to.
Sammy playing fantastic tonight. And of course, we wish Erin the best in all of her future endeavors and health. Congratulations though, Coach Jody Bartlett, the winner of tonight's matchup against Howland of the Lady Falcons. Now 6 straight sets for the Lady Falcons, 2 straight games, 2 straight matches as they look to face Marlington Saturday. We look forward to seeing you then, Coach.
Thank you.
That was once again Jody Bartlett with her post-game interview after Fitch's 3-set win over Howland. And once again, I think we're going to be talking to Jody quite a bit this season as they venture on, and they have Marlington on Saturday before they return to action next week. I think they're at Mooney on Tuesday to continue their season. So, hey, what a game to start off your experiences calling Fitch volleyball.
Yeah, and it's going to be exciting looking forward to. I think this is going to be a very good Lady Falcons team. Going to be tough because they are competing in a very, very talented Division I pool when they go into the tournament time, and that's going to be the biggest thing is they're going to have to go up against a gauntlet of opponents, but so far haven't even lost a set yet. Yeah, it's early. It's within 6 sets of the season and only 2 games, but so far the Lady Falcons have looked impressive even in those close sets too, which we saw a couple of them at Howland, been able to prove that they could finish those sets out even when teams coming back on them.
Some of those scores from last night, Beaver Local looked super impressive against East Liverpool. We talked to Coach Lowe yesterday's show, and they won in 3. The scores were 25-11, 25-17, and 25-20. So Beaver Local making quick work of their rivals, East Liverpool, who were coming off a big win against Salem on Tuesday night.
Beaver Local just might be the team to beat in that division, honestly, this year. Looking at 22-2 last year and bringing back pretty much everything that they had and how good of a program that they have, I mean, that might be the team to beat this year, and that might be a team that makes a legitimate run at state by the end of the year. I think you're going to see them make deep playoff runs just because this is a Beaver Local team that's loaded. And we were expecting going into this game, it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen usually. And especially when you put East Liverpool and Beaver Local in the same sentence, you usually make it a 50-50 game no matter what the teams are at. But Beaver Local looked dominant last night, and Beaver Local did exactly what they needed to do. Beaver Local coming in with a more seniority-led team, a team that you would say is probably a little bit further ahead than where this East Liverpool team is right now as far as just the seniority and where everyone is skill-wise right now. And they did what they were supposed to do. The senior-led group did what they were supposed to do against East Liverpool.
The stats for that game, Grace Hill with 10 kills to lead the Beavers offense. Elizabeth Kolkowski, 9 kills, 4 blocks. Bailey Bowersock had 6 kills and 19 digs. Brooke Talbot had a 8-kill day with 10 assists, 10 digs, and 2 blocks. So she got a little bit into the scoring category in all facets. And then, of course, Emma Joseph had a great performance as well, 15 assists from the setting department. So, here we go. Great balanced stat sheet from Beaver Local. you'd expect nothing less. I believe that's 4 people with at least 7 kills. No one with over 11, so they don't have one player that you can key in on. We talked to Coach Lowe about that yesterday, and that's what makes them so hard to beat.
Oh, absolutely. It makes them so hard to beat. And you're looking at a combination of 28 kills spread out amongst 4 players, or 20 or more than that, excuse me. But I mean, you're averaging just over 7 kills per player in that exchange, it looks like. And that's incredible too. I don't remember exactly the stat you said for everyone offhand, but I mean, multiple players getting 7+ kills. And I think there was definitely over 4 in that. And that is just goes to show that out of 75 points to get the 3 set wins, 28 of them came off the hands of kills, and those were all spread out amongst 4 players. That shows that's pretty darn good from a team's perspective that the Beaver local Lady Beavers have over there.
Another very balanced offense is Crestview. They put their foot in the ground and asserted their dominance against Champion. They won in straight sets, 25-5, 25-4, and 25-9. Lucy Montgomery had 9 kills and finished with 11 kills, 9 assists. Grace Hour with 7 kills and 10 assists. Shelby Rambo, she had 7 kills. Abby Emsch had 6 kills, and Kendra Greaves led the defense with 7 digs. So Crestview looks dominant over Champion, and those scores were a pretty emphatic statement from Crestview.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, we talk about the 3-0 sweep against Lakeview to open it, a 3-0 sweep against Liberty, and a 3-0 sweep now against Champion. Crestview is 9-0 in set wins, 3-0 overall in match wins. They're going to be a problem this season right now. And I mean, these sets are, I mean, with the exception of Lakeview, these sets haven't been that close. And Crestview has been putting teams away pretty handedly and not even letting them get back into the game. This has been a very impressive start for Crestview, and one, if they can keep up, they're going to be definitely a tough team to try to knock off late in the season.
Canfield lost on Tuesday to Hoban. They bounced back with a big win over Cardinal Mooney in straight sets. First one wasn't competitive, 25-6, but the next two, 25-19, 25-22, so Mooney bounced back a little bit. Couldn't quite come over the hump, but Canfield gets the win in 3. Abby Householder put on a show, 21 kills on the night for her. Abby Munkleroy had 9 kills. Riley Kincaid and Allie Quirk split the setting, and they had 17 assists for Kincaid, 16 assists for Quirk. Parker Wilkins led the back row, 13 digs. Householder had 10 digs to earn a double-double for herself. Elena Scavina continues to have a great season, and another double-double for her. That's 2 double-doubles in 2 games for Scavina. 16 kills, 11 digs for her. Angelina Rotuno had 22 assists. So even though the Cardinal stat sheet looks pretty impressive, they still fall in straight sets to Canfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And Canfield doing what they were supposed to do, bounce back quite nicely off of that loss to a very, very good Hoban team. And yeah, they're going to be one of those teams that are going to be fun to watch. And we're minus a week away, I think 6 days away from that Canfield Fitch matchup at Fitch on next Thursday, which is going to be definitely a fun and a must watch, I think, volleyball game. 2 AAC teams going at it. And I think that's going to really set the tone for where the planes and everything are going to look like in the volleyball world going forward.
McDonald got a 3-set win over Louisville. Gianna Constantino, she earned a double-double, 13 kills, 11 digs. Megan Klockner had 17 assists on the day, 7 kills, 6 digs for her. Megan Zajac had a great defensive night, leading the team with 8 digs. Sammy Kelly had a tremendous night for the Rockets despite the loss. She had a double-double, 28 assists, 13 kills for her. She also had 7 digs. Sammy Moore was all over the place with defense, 26 digs for her. And Savannah Prochek also with 6 kills and 6 digs. McDonald will return to action against Waterloo on Tuesday. Louisville hosts JFK on Saturday.
Look for a couple more good matchups too. And I mean, those will look to be fun too, as we have volleyball coming into full swing this season, and it's pretty much every day now.
Impressive numbers from Sammy Kelly, and she was one of the players that we circled in our Louisville preview. She gets her first double-double of the season, probably not her last.
Yeah, most likely not her last. Very impressive talent over there, as well as we expect her to do much more of that during this season.
Columbiana they get the win over Latonia 25-11, 25-9, 25-8. Ava Heinrich had a big night for Columbiana. She led the team with 10 kills, a pair of digs and a pair of aces for her. Julia Rapp had 8 kills on the day, 5 service aces for her. Ellie Jackson led the team in both assists and digs with 15 assists and 6 digs. Columbiana travels to East Palestine on Tuesday. Might be a sneaky good game between the Bulldogs and the Clippers on Tuesday in East Palestine.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, East Palestine too, coming off of a very good game this last one too. So East Palestine's one of those teams, another one of those EOAC teams that are going to be competitive, and I think towards the top of the EOAC, as it's another one of those conferences that just look to be very competitive.
So for more scores and results, make sure to stay tuned to ysnlive.com, as we always keep that website up to date on content, and then we have more results coming as the day goes along. We also want to remind everybody that at 1 o'clock, we are going to be joined by Niles volleyball coach Taylor Pegg and one of their captains, Logan Lewis, and we're going to be talking to both of them coming up at 1 o'clock. So our volleyball talk continues on this Friday edition of Running Point. And then, of course, 2 o'clock rolls around, and me and Ty will go through the Friday night slate, and we will pick these games like we do every week. So a fun rest of the show for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick break, and we will be back on Running Point on Friday edition, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers, and we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And we want to remind everyone, since we heard from Boardman Mitsubishi in that last commercial run, that the comment section is live. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. Also, the fan line is live as well, 330-886-0813, as we move closer to our conversation with Taylor Pegg and Logan Lewis from Niles Volleyball. Niles got the 3-1 win over Struthers last night. The scores were 25-22, 23-25, 25-18, 26-24. So a very close competitive match that Niles pulls out last night.
Yeah, and another one of those NE8 matchups that we expect to be so tough going forward, as you saw yet again that Niles was able to pull it off against a very young and upcoming Struthers Lady Wildcats opponent, but Niles doing what they needed to do, and again, just another tough NE8 game.
Yeah, and Niles goes to 2-1 on the season. You look at their schedule ahead real quick as we bring up their schedule, and they are playing Jefferson on Tuesday and then Lakeview on Thursday. So a tough week ahead for Niles against some of the top 2 teams in the area.
Yeah, going to have to be competitive in those games to be able to really try to plant your flag in this NE8 and say that you're going to be around to stay. And we're going to see how good Niles really is as they go up against some of 2 of the other areas' best too.
And as we talk about Niles, we are going to bring in their head coach, Taylor Pegg, and also one of their captains in Logan Lewis. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Who are we going to start with?
Whoever you want.
All right, let's start with Taylor, and then we'll get to Coach. All right. I meant Logan. Sorry, I don't know why I said Taylor.
You want to start with Logan?
Yeah, let's start with Logan.
All
right, okay. All right, so we are talking to Logan Lewis and one of the captains of Niles Volleyball and very close to 1,000 digs on the year. Logan, what are you kind of mentally going through in this senior season and the last ride in Niles?
It's kind of just hitting me that I'm a senior now and that this is the last time I'm going to be playing with the girls this season. And also having the fact that I'm going to reach 1,000 digs is more of a mental challenge during the game to not like psych myself out or anything. I'm 11 away, so it's coming soon, but it's always the same challenge every game to make sure we come out strong and we don't get in a hole and everything. And the biggest challenge as a captain is to make sure all the girls are not in their heads and everything. And we're moving point by point every time. And I think the challenge for all of us captains are making sure we have the steady pace of always being up, having everyone cheering and everything. But we're ready for this season and we're ready to see what's coming next.
Talking about this upcoming game too with Jefferson, no doubt they were impressive in their game against South Range. What responsibilities do you take as a captain on that court to going into this game? How do you what is your responsibility, I think, with the girls is what I'm trying to ask, going into this game, knowing it's a tough matchup and you're going to need to make sure everyone's sharp on that court.
We know how they play. I've been playing them since my sophomore year when I came here. We know that they have strong hitters. They have big hitters too, but we also have big hitters. We are a hitter team. We are an offensive team, and we're ready to take on the taller girls. We can change our defense anytime, and one of our biggest things this year is our defense. So having a tall hitter on Jefferson, we already adjusted our defense before, and we can do it again. And we know they have hard serves. We have one of the best server seeds in the NE8 right now, and we have our best passes in the back row when they serve. So we're ready for their serve. We're ready for their serves and their hits. And we're leading in blocks too right now. So we have the top 3 spots in blocking? 4. We have the top 4 spots in blocking for NE8. So we're ready to take on their hitters, and their hitters are their biggest thing too. And so are our hitters. So we're ready for anything that they throw at us, and watching their film, and also knowing that we play other teams that they play. We're a very changing team. We have a new coach, and so we're always ready to adjust, and we've already adjusted to watching them and how they play. So we're ready to take them on Tuesday.
You obviously hang your hat on defense with the 1,000 digs approaching very fast. Take us through what it feels like to go down and get a ball that's really hit hard up from the other side, and to take away a kill from someone else.
Oh, it's the best feeling ever. I mean, it puts your body through some pain. I know I have a lot of bruises on me right now, but just being low and seeing that they have a strong hit and just getting down and scooping the ball up is one of the best feelings you can get. It's like we just stopped them from getting a point. And we've already had game point situations where Dig has won the game for us. And so it's one of the best feelings in the world, especially having close to my 1,000 digs. I mean, every time I get a dig, it's one of the best feelings in the world.
Talked a little bit about what you take responsibility for your teammates, looking at this upcoming game with Jefferson and looking at the season as a whole, being the senior leader and the captain. What responsibilities do you take for yourself and your play, and what areas and aspects do you look to improve on as the season goes along?
As a captain, I take responsibility for all the girls, making sure our attitudes are corrected and checked, making sure we're not talking back to the ref, making sure everyone keeps their heads up and everyone's in their games, letting coach know, hey, if there's a problem on the court, we go right to her. So as a rule, as a captain, it's kind of my responsibility and my duty to make sure everyone's in check, to make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And coming up, I know we have always struggled with defense. And so this year our defense is our biggest thing, to make sure we have a solid defense. So coming up, we're definitely going to keep on improving in our defense. And our captains just take lead in the defense and offense too. I mean, we have 4 solid captains, passing, setting, and hitting. So we're all ready to improve on our passing and hitting and setting this year.
How would you describe your leadership qualities and the qualities that you bring as a leader?
I myself would describe myself as a leader. I like taking charge on the court. And I think having a person on the court that is willing to take charge in times when everyone is down is one of the biggest things you can have. And that's happened so far in a couple of games. We've been down 7-8 points, and then we come right back up on top at the end. And so I think being able for me to take charge on the court and making sure to keep the girls in check and just bring the energy up is one of the biggest things for me to have, is that to know that I'm able to do this, it just makes me feel better as a captain, knowing I was given this role as a captain for a reason.
I mean, the last dance now as a Red Dragon. Talk to me a little bit about, reflect actually a little bit on your high school experience, your volleyball experience, and your overall experience being a Niles Red Dragon these last 4 years.
So I actually moved here my sophomore year. So I actually was not here freshman year. But coming in as a sophomore, I have been every position. I've been through it all. I came in as a setter. I was moved to a hitter and then libero. And that's what started basically my whole 1,000 digs. And last year was my first year put as a hitter. And just being able to experience it all with the girls that I basically kind of grown up with these past 3 years is very sad, but also very reflecting on knowing that we're near the home stretch and we struggled with playoffs a lot. And so being able to have the team that can go far in playoffs this year is just an amazing feeling. And being a Red Dragon, having the Dragon spirit, it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's just so nice to know that these girls are my family. And even after we graduate, that we're all going to stay in touch and everything. And it's just nice to know that, I mean, we all like each other, there's no problem with each other, and we're friends off and on the court. And so being able to have a team that's more of a family to you than a team, it's just really nice to have, knowing that they have your back at all times. And so being a Red Dragon and everything has made me become stronger. It has made me become mentally tougher and has made many, many relationships with many, many people.
As we continue to reflect on your career, what do you think is the biggest thing you've grown in from your sophomore season when you started at Niles to now going into your senior season?
I think I've grown as a hitter, actually, and you would say probably a passer, knowing my 1,000 digs are coming up. But I was kind of thrown in as a hitter, and now having one of the best hitting percentages in the NE8, it's a great feeling to have, knowing that I've stepped up in the role as a hitter, and I was kind of just put there a little bit. And so being able to play club volleyball too and get to work on it has really helped a lot. So being able to grow as a hitter has really helped our team too. And being able to put up some defense with some blocks is just really nice to have too.
Talk to me a little bit about your goals this season overall. I mean, going into your last year too. Talk to me about some personal goals, some team goals, and overall, what are some goals for this season?
Some of my personal goals is I'm close to 1,000, so I want to hit my 1,000 digs. I'm actually close to 1,000 kills too, so I'm really hoping I can get 1,000 kills. But I also want to go one step further, and I want to be district champs. I want to be regional champs because we've never gotten to experience that at Niles. There are no numbers up for us, so this is the year. We have the team to do it, and so I really want to strive for our team to go that far. And I think for team goals, we all want to go that far. We are beating teams that we did not beat the last couple of years so far, which is a whole new perspective for us. Having a winning record right now is we haven't been able to experience that. So I think as a team, we want to go far. And I think that's our goal. Is we're playing it game by game, but we really want to go far this year.
You've swung, you've been in the back row. You got to tell us what's a better feeling, getting the big dig or putting down a big kill?
Oh, that's hard. I think honestly, sorry digging, but I'm gonna have to go with blocking. I like hitting. Being able to get like a game-winning hit or just an amazing kill is an amazing feeling because you just hit it right down at them, and being able just to block it right in their face is just an amazing feeling because it gets your adrenaline rushing and everything. Even though the pass starts to play, the hits and the blocks end it.
My final question for you is not really a question. It's more of a spotlight. I'm going to give you, I mean, basically we've been giving you, but here's 2 minutes, however long you need to talk to the entire Niles community. You could thank them. You can do whatever you want, but talk to the entire Niles community. Talk about your experience again with Niles. You highlighted a little bit about it, but just talk about the Niles community, the friendships, the relationships you made, and what your future endeavors now hold after high school as well.
I actually want to say thank you because coming in as a sophomore to a new school in high school, especially in high school, I was very scared. I didn't know if I was going to make friends. I didn't know who my friends were going to be. And I was scared coming into a volleyball program that I had no idea who girls were and everything. But some of my best friends were on the team and they took me right under their wings. Hallie, she is my ultimate best friend on the court, on and off the court. And she took me right under her wing and said, we're going to get through this together. So I can't thank her enough for just taking me under and showing me what Niles is truly about. Also to the Niles community, every game we go to, anything that happens on and off the court, they always have our backs. Every game, there's always someone up in the stands rooting for us and everything. And so it's just nice knowing that the community has our back, especially because this is a new season with new coaching and new players. So it's nice knowing that we have the community to back us up at all times. But for the future, I'm planning to go to Florida for college. But if an opportunity comes up to play volleyball in college, I'll definitely take it into consideration. But I'm planning to be a future Spartan.
All right. So when you look at, you've talked about the community support, but what about, I want to give you the chance to thank your personal support system and the people that have been there for you over the years and the people that have made the hard times of the volleyball career a little bit easier?
Definitely my family, with my parents being divorced and everything. My mom lives 3 hours away, but she still makes the drive over every once in a while to come and watch me play. And knowing that I just have my parents' support is the biggest thing to me, especially on senior nights. It's just when all the tears are going to be coming. But I know my dad is also one of my biggest supporters. Every game he tries to make it to. Same with my stepmom. So having the support not only at the games but at home just feels amazing. And my boyfriend comes to every game too. So it's nice to have everyone, like, even if my parents can't make it, he can make it and everything. So I just can't thank my family and friends enough. I mean, my best friend, she reached her 1,000 points in basketball, and knowing that I was there for her and she'll be here for mine is just one of the biggest things to have, knowing that even though my friends are all in college now, they're still watching me and supporting me from hundreds of miles away and everything. So I just can't thank my friends enough for always having my back, no matter what happens. They just have always had my back and everything. And, we always say GOAT talk as a thing for all of us, but it's just a key word to know that no matter what happens, GOAT talk on the court and off the court, because we'll always get the next battle.
All right, Logan, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to hear from you, and we look forward to covering you as the season goes on.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, let's just move that camera over a little bit, pop right into the coach's corner, and bring up Taylor Pegg, the new head coach of the Niles volleyball team. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
When you talk about this Niles volleyball program and how exciting the times are right now and the rejuvenation of the program, what kind of things excite you about this year?
I think that I'm most excited about how successful our defense and serve receive is. I am a 2019 graduate of Hubbard High School, so I have played Niles in high school. I've watched them from before I was even in high school and a little bit before I coached, and they've never really had the defense that we have this year. There are a few of the girls that have never played a varsity match until this year, and it was nerve-wracking for them. But I think that me seeing the potential that they have and giving them the coaching that they need is really helping them. And we have so many digs this year, so many saves, and I'm just so proud of the way that they've improved just from the beginning of open gyms when we start June. Just in June, the improvement is ridiculous. I love it. I'm so proud of them.
Coach, I don't think I could go without asking this question too. Being a graduate of Hubbard High School, what was it like this past Tuesday going back, but not as a Hubbard Eagle, but playing against him as a coach of the Niles Red Dragons?
It was definitely the biggest game for me personally. Coaching in my gym where I played, Hubbard's JV coach, he was actually my very first coach up until my junior year. I look up to him every single day. I know that I can go to him and talk to him, but he is the enemy now. So all of these girls, they fought their hardest. We were down 0-2. They fought back and they won that third set 30-28. And although we did lose in the end, I'm so proud of them. They didn't take any sets from Hubbard last year, and definitely excited to see round 2 when they come to us.
You definitely bounced back last night with a thrilling win over Struthers. You look at those scores, they were all very competitive sets. Talk about what a win like that does for the morale of your program.
Winning the home opener, I think, was just the biggest thing. We had a huge crowd there. Everybody was supporting us. I don't know if they've ever won their home opener before in the past 3, possibly 4 years. It was definitely an exciting thing for them, and especially to win not in 5. We won against champion and it went to 5. We were excited that we won, but winning in 4 is just so much better. We didn't have to work that extra set. We didn't have to do this. We didn't have to do that. Like, the girls, they were there, they were present. I do think that our biggest thing is starting off strong. We struggle with that. We dig ourselves a hole, but they always fight back somehow.
Talk to me a little bit about these next two games. And of course, you being a Hubbard graduate, you know the tough NE8 schedule. So you've seen a lot of these two teams. So knowing Jefferson and Lakeview are the next two on the docket, talk about how important these next two are and what you need from the girls to come away victors in these next two.
Yeah, these next two games are definitely pretty big. Playing against Jefferson and in Lakeview a few years ago, they were always tough. They've always had good programs. But I definitely think that they're ready. Working with my girls with their defense, their serve receive, I've drilled them with their passing and their serve receive, and that is why it's improved so much. I definitely think that we're ready for that. And having girls like Logan, she's 5'10". I have a junior, Abby Reed, she's 5'11". Junior, Elena Thigpen, she is 5'9". So I have a huge front row. We have so many blocks. Actually, I think Abby Reed had 11 blocks last night, and it's just amazing to have such a tall, solid front row along with a solid back row. And I definitely think that they're ready for this competition this upcoming week.
We've heard from Logan. Who are some other leaders on this team that you look to lead the team, not just on the court, but off the court as well?
My senior setter, Jen Emilius, she is definitely one to take leadership on the court. She notices when people are down or when people get in their head, and she tries to keep the energy up all the time, as well as Elena Thigpen. She is always exciting. She picks people up on the court. She not just mentally, but like she physically picks them up. Yes. She picks them up. She gets so excited. It's definitely a big part of our energy is Elena, as well as Abby Reed and Hallie Snyder. Really, all of my varsity team are 9 solid girls that are potential captains, and that it was very hard to choose. And that's why there are 4 of them. But I think that Elena is definitely probably the one that keeps the energy up most of the time. She's the loudest. She's always excited, even in practices. So I definitely rely on her for a lot of that.
Yeah, looking at this upcoming season too. You're coming into a new school. You're coming into the Niles Red Dragons, a graduate of just a couple years ago. But what has been your favorite thing transitioning into this new coaching experience, and what has been your favorite thing about coaching this Red Dragons team so far?
I think my favorite thing from moving from player to coach is just seeing the court from a whole different perspective. It's definitely eye-opening, and I do have some of my girls help with the middle school sometimes so that they get that opportunity to see the other side of the court as well. So that's definitely a big thing. And sorry, I don't remember the second question.
No, just looking at going into your first year of coaching, what are some outlooks that you have for this team, and what are some of your kind of goals, and what are you excited about future-wise for the Red Dragons?
I think my biggest goal is definitely to have a winning record. They were only 5-18 last year, so that is not the best. Definitely want to move up in the rankings not only in our conference, but like our division too. I definitely want to turn some heads, and I want Niles volleyball to be known. I feel like people get excited to play Niles because like, oh, they're not that good. It's an easy win. But this year, I do think that we are very good competition for anybody that we're going to play.
You transitioned from player to coach so fast, graduated in 2019, already a head coach. What was it like turning that switch mentally from player to coach, and did you ever struggle with that?
Yeah, I did struggle with it. This past season, during club season, I coached at Mahoning Valley Premier, and the biggest thing was definitely separating coach and friend. Being so young, that is the hardest thing. But I do think that it's working. And I tell the girls that I will be their friend, but I'm always their coach first, and there has to be the boundaries. And coaching at MVP, having all of these other coaches from other schools and other divisions, some of them are even from other states, and I get to ask them questions. Like I have their contact information. So if I ever needed anything, I know that I could go to most of the coaches to ask for any advice that I needed.
Coaching too, you get into coaching, there's so much you have to learn too, and everything gets kind of thrown at you when you jump into coaching. Is there anything that now that you are a coach that you look back on as a player saying, man, I wish I would have known that, or something that you learned along the way as a coach that you maybe wish you learned or knew as a player?
100% attitude. When I played, I had the worst attitude. I tell my girls that. I had the worst attitude. I got in my head so bad. And it did bring other girls down. And as a coach, seeing that, like, I wish that I could go back in time and, like, switch it. I actually went up to Greg Powell, Hubbard's JV coach, and I was like, I'm sorry for all of the attitude that I ever gave you. Because keeping them out of their heads and keeping them positive the whole time is definitely the hardest thing.
Talk about one thing that you want your players to take away from your coaching style and your season that's outside of volleyball and just a life skill.
I want them to stick up for themselves. Definitely that is a big thing. Like, team drama is a big thing. And it's kind of weird because they're all friends on the court and off of the court. So I think that the biggest thing I want them to take away from it is to be yourself. Don't try to twist words. Don't talk down on anybody. Like, do your job, be who you want to be. And if somebody doesn't like that or somebody doesn't agree with it, you can agree to disagree. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to teach them is to be an adult, to take criticism well, to not take stuff to heart too bad, if that makes sense.
My final question for you, Coach, teams are nothing without the fan support and having a good community behind them. And I think Niles is one of those areas that does have a really good community behind them. But talk to me and talk to actually the Niles community about why this next Thursday matchup, this big home matchup versus Lakeview, is going to be the place to be on Thursday night.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you to everybody who first welcomed me to the community. Being a graduate of Hubbard High School, I didn't know how they were going to take it that I was the head coach. So I want to thank them for welcoming me and being like, they have my back up for everything. The superintendent, Mrs. Thigpen, and then our athletic director, Mr. Fritz, they have my back and they support me 100%. And not only does the community see that, but my players see that. They see that the administration is involved with our program. And definitely that is a big thing for communities. Like, I know going to Hubbard, I would notice what the athletic director would do or what the superintendent would do. And seeing them at the games and supporting us, definitely it's like, oh, like they're there. I think that I can go. I should go. Maybe this is a good game, So yeah, definitely our home game against Lakeview is definitely a big one for us on Thursday. They have started off a little rough. They are 0-2 right now. We do have the confidence of being 2-1, but we're not underestimating anybody at all. We know how hard they play. We know how tough they are. They've always been good competition, and preparing my girls mentally is my biggest thing right now.
Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to talk about your coaching staff from the middle school up and what the coaches that are around you do for this program.
Yeah, my middle school coach is Ashton Kamara. She's not from around here. She's actually from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And she does make that drive every day. And as a college student, all of my coaches are college-age students. We are 19, 20, and 21. So it's very young coaching staff, but we're taking it serious, and we are definitely going about it the right way. The middle school, they did have a rough start last year, not being able to find a coach. They had our varsity basketball coach as their volleyball coach. So it was a rough start. They didn't get the coaching that they needed. And I think this year, bringing in Ashton, who has the volleyball background, who knows how to play, And her dad was also a coach, so she knows the coaching situations like in the family. That's definitely a big thing for us, is like starting younger. We want to start camps for 5th and 6th grade, so that it's not just thrown into it in 7th grade. And my JV coach, Alicia Jackson, she is wonderful. We're on the same page about everything. We agree on everything. There's not much that we disagree on. She is doing a wonderful job with my JV. It is a rough start because of the coaching situation last year, but we're definitely ready for the struggles that we're going to go through, the obstacles we're going to have to come across, but we're definitely taking it the right way. And I think that this program is going to grow in the next few years.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today, and Logan as well, as we had this cool little tandem interview. We thank you both for the time, and we look forward to covering your team as the season goes on, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. That was a little long conversation with Niles Volleyball, one with one of their senior captains, Logan Lewis, and then also with their head coach, Taylor Pegg. And those are some of the cool things that we get to do on Running Point every day.
We're like a double barrel shotgun, a captain's quarters and a coach's corner. I mean, we got the quarters, we got the corners, we got everything. We're double barrel action in it up here on
captain's quarters, coach's corners. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I know. There you go. We got both of them right there for you, and we got another coach's corner too. So I mean. Yeah. We're knocking them all out of the park, too. And, of course, we have also Steve Leslie doing a fantastic job with Coach's Corners on the football side of things. Can't speak to enough of what he's doing. Also, player profiles as well, doing great jobs as well as Steve Leslie. Check out the content that he's been making, too, for YSN. He's had a lot of interviews with coaches, too.
And if you haven't been following YSN All Morning on Friday and mornings, it basically dumps all the content they've had for football for the week. So Coach's Corners and player profiles have been going live pretty much since 8 a.m. So we had, the Boardman's Coach's Corner that Steve had. We had Canfield player with Toby Smith. All these different interviews.
Coach Mill too.
All these different interviews pop up on in the mornings on our Facebook page on a Friday to get you guys ready for Friday night action.
Yeah, I mean they do a great job too, and we can't speak enough to what Steve Leslie does for us and for the coaches and all the work he does for YSN. Does so many interviews, talks with so many coaches, and has a good standing relationship with a lot of area coaches, and we can't thank Steve enough for what he does for YSN.
Also, Mr. Richie Giuliano, who does a lot of the coaches' corners for Canfield and player profiles from Coca's Pizza.
He's been doing a great job out there at Coca's Pizza, too.
We wish him the luck as he starts today. Actually, he's probably wrapping up maybe the home opener for YSU Volleyball as he helps the broadcasting for that and on ESPN+. So we wish him the best of luck. He has a doubleheader tonight and he has a game tomorrow. So Richie is not afraid of work, we'll tell you that much.
No, not at all. He's a workhorse, and that's the greatest thing about having him with the company is because he's a workhorse and he helps so much.
He really does, and he's actually doing those YSU volleyball games solo. No color commentator. So he's out on his own. He's doing a great job, and we wish him all the luck, and we can't wait to have him back on Friday nights for football.
He's like a Swiss Army knife, man. He's multi-tool, multi-talented in all sports, all facets. He's a special one.
Are you okay? Because you're coming up with all these like weapons metaphors. I'm kind of.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. No, but he is really special, really talented at what he does, and we're very, very, very lucky to have him as well.
You know what? We're lucky to have our wonderful sponsors. We're going to take a quick time out and share a message from our sponsors next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Custom order your Ford your way at Tri-State Ford. Choose the available features that fit your life and style, from the all-new 2022 Ford Maverick F-150 Lightning through the entire Ford lineup. Pick your color, trim level, and options. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. Start your custom order today. Stop in or visit tristateford.net. Customer-focused, community-driven. Tri-State Ford, East Liverpool.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
News doesn't stop after the sun goes down. Sometimes you just have to hustle to get it. At 21 News, no matter how far it is, no matter what it takes to get there, we're working to bring you the best stories and the freshest content at 11 p.m. with the context and clarity that makes it worth staying up for, no matter what time it is. 21 News at 11 with me, Aaron Simonek, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 11, news that's worth your time.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. We don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I want to remind everybody that the comments section brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi is live, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can leave us a comment. We would love to see what you want to talk about. You can also give us a call, 330-886-0813, as we bring in Ty Bartell. And Ty, we continue this Friday edition. Our picks are coming up in about a half an hour. Before we do that, let's dive into a couple of more of these matchups that are marquee matchups of the week. Let's talk about Louisville traveling to Poland. I think this is a really interesting matchup that's going to be very competitive.
Yeah, we know Louisville usually schedules up, and Poland not shying away from competition either. Both these teams Coming off of a loss, I believe, last week. Poland to the
Poland,
Canfield.
Canfield, Louisville to Barberton.
Yeah, Barberton. That's right. I was trying to think of the team Louisville played last week. Yeah, both of these teams coming off of a loss. Both these teams going to be big, rough, and tough. Defensive teams are going to be teams that are going to run the ball a lot. They're going to be teams that are going to be playing run defense a lot. So you're going to see a lot of the similar things from both the Leopards and the Bulldogs. And this is going to be a game that's going to be very interesting because I think it really is a case of anybody's game.
Zach Seaman is going to test this Bulldog secondary. I know Louisville likes to run the ball, but they have a pretty prolific receiver, and he's able to get his fair share of touches. So Poland's secondary is going to be tested tonight.
I think they're going to be as well, and I think the biggest questions on that secondary, you got to look at Jack Fulton at defensive back. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be out there. One of the leaders, Christian Colosimo too, is going to be at linebacker. They might have to drop him back in coverage. When he is dropped back into pass coverage, he's going to need to be effective there as well. I think those are going to be two of your big keys. And of course, we already know what Colosimo and those guys can do on the run defense, but it's going to be wildly important to defend that pass game of Louisville, because if they could start opening that up, then they could start getting you with a flurry of offense.
Colosimo got a sack last week against Canfield. He's going to have to become a presence in the backfield as well. You talk about his run defense, his ability to cover, but he's also got to be able to put pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing is, too, I mean, you lose to Canfield last week, so you have a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth. Good thing for Poland, too, this one is also at home, so don't have to go on a tough road trip after a loss to Canfield. You're only 0-1, but this is a big game, I think, for both of these teams now, starting out 0-1. You don't want to start out 0-2 to start the season. We know what Poland was able to do responding after a single loss last season and rattled off a bunch of victories. Let's see if they can respond with the same fire and energy.
Poland's offense moved the ball pretty well in that loss to Canfield. They just couldn't finish their drives. I mean, that was the story of a lot of teams last week. They've moved the ball, not able to finish drives. It doesn't get any easier with the defense. I mean, that's got to be a key for Coach Tom Pavlansky when he circles some of the keys to victory. Finish drives when we move the ball.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I mean that's the biggest thing. And you got to look at the play of quarterback with Jack Fulton. You got to look at the play of your running back and Bryce Behringer. These are the two guys that are going to be, I think, big time when it comes down to that in the red zone, needing a score. These are the two guys you're going to look for, and these are the two guys you want to be a little bit sharper inside the red zone. And I think they will be sharper because that Canfield defense was good. Louisville is going to be good as well, but I think they have they know a little bit more of what to expect defensively. And I think getting their feet wet last week with Canfield is going to help them tremendously in this matchup with Louisville.
Tell me, Ty, do you think that Poland's offense gets a little bit easier to handle in the red zone because of their scheme and you don't have to cover as much? You can compact a little bit more in the red zone. Do you think it's a little bit easier to handle Poland's offensive scheme in the red zone?
It can be, but you know what? I don't think Poland has shown us everything they have in their playbook by a long shot. And I think the biggest thing is I think Jack Fulton has the ability to pass too, and a good ability to pass for Poland. And I just don't think we're seeing all of that ability being let loose yet because it's the style that Poland plays, and it's a scheme and trying to fit a scheme. But I guarantee you there are plays in Poland's playbook that we have not seen yet that are probably going to help them and be more effective. They don't want to show everything this early on in the season. They know it's a long season, and they know they don't want to have teams be able to have a film on them and be able to scout them. So Poland, I think you're going to see progressively get better, and they're going to figure things out once these guys catch on to the system. Some guys need a game or two preparations to catch up and get comfortable playing in that system. But I think once they do, I think Poland's going to be just fine.
Both these teams want to score more points than they did in week one. Poland with just, I believe, 12. Louisville with 7. Which offense do you think has the better opportunity to progress from week 1 to week 2?
Right now, I think Louisville has a more dynamic offense. I think they have more weapons as of right now. I want to see Poland establish more weapons from what we saw last week. And I understand that was tough defenses, but we need to see Poland. I want to see them establish more offensive threats because I know they have guys that have the potential to be very dangerous offensive weapons too, especially at receiver. But I need to see more of those offensive weapons be established, and you need to have those threats be established early on in this game game against Louisville. But as of right now, I think Louisville has more established weapons right now at receiver, at running back, at quarterback. I think Louisville is all around right now have a little bit more establishment at those positions.
That being said, I think Jack Fulton is a wild card. I mean, he was able to improvise a handful of times on 3rd and long situations against Canfield. Going to try to do the same thing with his legs and improvise. He can beat you in 2 different ways.
Yeah, and Jack Fulton's one of those guys that, you know, he's gonna help out tremendously. And I think once he gets comfortable in the scheme and once he figures out everything with the offense and he gets a couple more games under his belt, he'll be fine.
Yeah, and when you look at it, this game, I really think it's going to be contrasting styles. I mean, I think Louisville likes to run, but I think they're going to look to open up the pass game a little bit and try to test the Poland secondary. And obviously, Poland is just going to be, you know, ball control, run the ball, and move very methodically down the field.
You're going to see Louisville go and attempt to do the same thing Canfield did with those seam routes right up the gut, too, and utilizing their big tight ends. And that's exactly what Louisville has. They have sizable tight ends, and they're going to open up that passing game because they saw Canfield had the success. Brock Lowry had that success against Poland. Poland's going to need to be sharper. You're right, Anthony, in that secondary. And I guarantee you they were watching, and Coach Pav was watching the film on that one play that Canfield ran a couple of times. And I guarantee you that this time around, Poland's going to have that play scouted.
Yeah, that's the scary thing for this Poland defense. It was the exact same spot on the field was wide open consistently. They weren't able to adjust to that.
It's an issue when you play Poland's defense that if you beat them, you're making them better in a way. If you expose a weakness, you're just shoring them up for the playoffs, and that's a scary thought.
But Louisville's tight end, you're right. Forgive me, I don't remember his name.
I believe it's Ligonhole. I think it's AJ Ligonhole is what I think I have on my thing. I could pull this up real quick. But I think I have he was 6'6", I'm pretty sure.
6'6", like 200 plus pounds.
He's a monster, an absolute monster of a tight end, and he's gonna be a problem in this matchup. Let me pull it up real quick. I'll get the name on it because I know I have him on here.
One thing's for sure, when Louisville watched the Poland film and saw the middle of the field consistently being open, they probably like salivated like a dog at a steak because they're thinking, we have one of the biggest tight ends in the state of Ohio.
AJ Ligonhole, tight end, wide receiver, 6'6", 230. See, I'm up on my knowledge. I know 6'6", 230. That is a big man, and that's going to be a dangerous man on the field. And that's the thing. Poland having big linebackers, you might see Colosimo, Ligonhole getting at it a couple of times, and that's going to be a fun matchup.
That's going to be a train wreck, and not the ones you want to look away from. It's a fun train wreck when those two collide.
It's going to just be brute strength versus brute strength, and these are two big guys going at it. One of the premier linebackers, I think, defensively in Colosimo, and one of the best, I think, tight ends as far as I talked about him in our Louisville preview, a Travis Kelce build, a guy that can block for you, a guy that can catch. He's very dynamic at tight end, and that's what makes him dangerous.
Quit trying to butter me up, Ty.
No, he really is, though. He's one of those builds. I mean, go back to it. You could go back even further to a Gronkowski type build. That 6'6" frame, tall. He's built. He muscular too. Can catch the ball really well. Can block. He's a dynamic tight end, and one that we don't see a lot of high school teams utilize tight ends and have dynamic tight ends. And if you do have tight ends, they're mostly in blocking schemes for extra blockers and running schemes. But you don't usually see many tight ends incorporated in passing schemes as much. But Ligonhole, you kind of have to because he has those hands as well.
Yeah, and when you look at him, one of the things that makes him so dangerous is he can slip away from tackles. That's one of the things that Poland struggled with last week is shoring up their tackling and making sure they were getting people to the ground. A lot of broken tackles for Canfield, and it's not going to be easy tackling 6'6", 230. I'll tell you that much right now.
No, it's not. And you're going to need to get extra tacklers on him, or you're going to need someone to shore up their tackling. And you're correct. And I'm looking at those guys like Colosimo. He's probably going to be the one that's going to be matching up with him. And if they're going to be dropping anyone into pass coverage, I think to cover Ligonhole, it's going to be Colosimo because it's the one that makes the most sense. I think Colosimo has the most speed, and I think he's the most dynamic in that he can cover the pass and cover the run very well. And I think that's the biggest matchup you're going to see because if Ligonhole can break that second line of defense and he can break the linebackers, there's no chance if you try to put a defensive back on him. It's just not going to happen.
One of our teams is venturing across the state line. Ursuline going to Hickory in Pennsylvania. This is a matchup that I think people have to be loving. I mean, it's a premier program in Pennsylvania versus a premier program in Ohio. It's almost like a second Penn Ohio game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how Ursuline plays after that thriller against Bishop Hartley week 1. It'll be interesting just to see how Ursuline's going to adjust in this game. It's going to be another premier school. Hickory's not one that I have a lot of information on, to be honest, but what I saw from Ursuline and what I did know about Bishop Hartley going into that matchup, I know that Ursuline was going in there with their backs against the wall a little bit because Bishop Hartley is a dangerous team, and that was a big, big win for the Irish. And going into this game, they have a lot of momentum. And I know Hickory is one of, like you said, a premier school. I know of them being a good school, and I know of them usually having very talented teams. And I know this is going to be a big matchup for Ursuline. And another one, if they could come away with this as a victory, that's going to be huge for the Irish going forward.
And you look at their defense, and despite the offensive proficiency to say last week, their defense has to be on a little bit of alert and say, we have to do a little bit of a better job. I know Bishop Hartley, amazing run game. They tip of the hat to them a little bit, but Ursuline has to feel like their defense can be a little bit better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a 62-58 game overall, you got to figure you got to be a little bit better, and you can't allow the points you allowed to Hartley against Hickory unless you think you can keep up that type of offensive production against multiple teams through multiple weeks, but it's just not efficient. You need to be able to play defense as well, so that way your offense shouldn't have to work that hard. And I think that's the biggest focal point going into this game, and I think that's the biggest thing I think Ursuline was talking about themselves. Yeah, that was a big win, but if you're looking at one area you need to improve on, defense is definitely that area. You can't be allowing those type of points going forward, trying to stay competitive in it. We know that they have the offense to get them out of it, but you need that defense to be shored up, especially getting into the playoffs.
And despite the defensive struggles, it was the defense that made the game-winning play on that fourth down for Bishop Hartley. They penetrated the line, and they made a tackle for loss, proving that they have playmakers that can go make plays. Just got to be more consistent.
You just got to be more consistent, and it might have been a comfort thing, and they may need a little bit of time to get comfortable in that scheme, but that's got to be an area Ursuline has to be better at. And maybe it was a preview and a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to see this week towards that end of the game, that they finally did step up and realize that, they need to be a big part of this too, and they were a huge part of that victory. Yeah,
and when you look at Ursuline's offense, and you're going to have to dig with a fine-tooth comb to think of things that they can improve on. But if you look at it, really, they didn't really run the ball too well. Hartley, once again, a great run defense, clogged the lanes. But I'm sure Coach Reed going forward wants that offense to be a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, you want the offense to be a little bit more balanced, but hey, man, if you have a guy like Brady Shannon behind center,
I know, yeah.
The run game's not working, I'm all right letting him throw the ball 40, 50 times. I mean, it's you do what you need to do to win. And hey, if Shannon needs to be able to throw it that many times to get us a win, that's what that has to happen. And the biggest thing is with Hickory too, yeah, you could stop the run. And if Hickory goes to plan the pass, then they're just going to open it up with a run. This is a three-headed dragon on special teams and the passing game and the running game. But this is a three-headed monster on offense too, where you can't game plan and stop every area of the offense. You can only contain them to certain extents. But this is an offense that is going to score points. They're going to get yards on you because they are just that dynamic.
And what a blessing it must be to have a Brady Shannon that can put that team on his shoulders and say, if you need me to throw 50 passes a game, I can do it. I'm not going to put the ball in danger, and I can lead this team to victory. Not a lot of quarterbacks in the area would be trusted to throw the ball 50 times consistently.
Yeah. Only other ones I could think of off the top of my head is Vinny Balone and Louisville, because they flat out said that he's going to be throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game going forward. And I mean, that's incredible that you could have a coach trusting you. But Brady's also the guy that he's humble enough to know that he doesn't need to throw 40, 50 times a game to win all the time. And he's content and comfortable throwing the ball only 20 times a game and handing the ball off a bunch if it means that they get the victory and it gets them more yards, gets them in better position to get the win. So it's not all about let me get my passes, let me get my attempts. He doesn't really care about that. He just cares about winning. So he does whatever he needs to do to win. And whether that means he needs to throw 10 passes or 1,000, he's game.
Did you see the catch that Jalen Irving made in the side of the end zone against Hartley? I mean, not only is Brady Shannon good, but man, does he have some toys in his toys chest?
Oh yeah, the wide receiving core over there in Ursuline is absolutely incredible, and Ursuline has a lot of weapons for Brady Shannon, and that must help wildly this season for the offense. And we saw that last year, but they've really come into their own this year. And you talked about Kylan Irving too, one of those senior receivers, and I mean, one of those guys that just has great hands catching wise. And then you got to talk about that tight end too, Dean Boyd. That's another. We talk about Ligonhole for Louisville. We're going down to Ursuline. You got to talk about Dean Boyd. This is a guy. He's a big guy, muscular guy, has great catching ability, runs very sharp, crisp routes too. And he's one of those guys hard to bring down once he has the ball. He's super effective for Ursuline too, especially in the red zone too. He's one of those targets that he lights up for Brady Shannon in that red zone, because he just finds a way to get open so quick on his feet, and he gets off of people, and he can go up too and get a ball, because he's hard to bring down and get it out of his hands.
Dean Boyd is a tight end. Okay, sure. He's a wide receiver. He's one of those guys. You brought up Travis Kelce, so I don't feel bad bringing him up. He's a tight end on the roster, but a little bit more of a receiver in what he's able to do. And we have DJ Oakley coming back into the studio, so we're going to give him the microphone real quick and see what he has to tell us. Yeah, middle.
So we have breaking news in the YSN newsroom. I believe we're the first to report it, which is great and all, but the bad news is that Latonia and Matthews canceled tonight. Just got the word. It is like fresh out of the oven that this game's canceled tonight. So another game affected, and again, it's the Latonia Bears, losing another game, because last week, of course, they had Sebring due to COVID protocol, and I'm not sure. It seemed like everything was good, and then literally, it was maybe 10 minutes ago, if that, the news coming out of between those two schools that it's canceled. So no game tonight for Latonia and Matthews. That game is canceled. But it's going to be interesting, Ant, because the OHSAA yesterday releasing that rule that you only need 5 games to be played to be qualified for the playoffs. And we've kind of been, tongue-in-cheek saying that at some point the OHSAA is just going to let everybody in again.
Right. If you keep seeing these kind of cancellations spread out through the state, might not even have an option.
It's tough for Coach Julia and the Bears because they haven't played it down in football yet, and that's unfortunate. And Wellsville's in the same boat, both EOAC teams. And so you look at that and you go, hopefully they can get healthy before, the league starts, the conference play starts. But again, we'll have more information as it becomes available at ysnlive.com. So one less game on the docket tonight for us, but we're going to try to take our announce team and fill them in elsewhere. So you're not missing a game. But again, if you're watching, it's absolutely free tonight. So and enjoy it.
Another opportunity to hear some new voices on your team's broadcast.
Exciting stuff. I mean, listen, and again, hopefully we're all wearing blue tonight. So you'll know that the YSN's there and the audible call will be here. But we're committed. We're committed to making sure that there's, if there's games available for us to be at, we're going to do it. So we are a little short-staffed the first couple of weeks here because of kids going back to school and getting acclimated. So just be patient with us. But, breaking news again, no game, Latonia, Matthews, canceled.
Right. So that's another one that goes down, unfortunately. And Ty, we said it earlier this week. I mean, how many are going to fall into that category?
Yeah, and I mean, it's unfortunately, Tonya, now 2 consecutive weeks of no football, and we don't know how long this is going to be. And DJ is completely correct. Is how much longer does this go on before they just open up and just say everybody's in the playoffs again? Because you're basically stripping a team of an opportunity now. Because I mean, if this goes on anymore, Latonia is not going to have enough games played to even be able to qualify, and that's unfortunate that they don't even have a chance to open up.
Well, if you're saying 5 games, I think the next step would be letting everyone in. I mean, that's the next logical step if this situation doesn't get under control.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're saying the minimum's 5 games, they need to play a half a season, you might as well just let everybody in anyway and just let them play the season out. I mean, it is what it is, but I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, and I don't know what's going on with this going forward, and I think it's going to be interesting, but the next few weeks are going to be a mystery, I think.
Here's the crazy thing with back to computer points this year instead of coaches voting like last year when everyone did get in. How do you really quantify 5 wins when talking about where a team lands in seeding? I mean, are you just tough luck? Or you have played the teams that aren't going to give you computer points, even though you went 5-0? And I mean, that's where it gets kind of murky on discussing whether or not everyone gets in.
Yeah, and I don't even know how they're going to try to figure that out. And I think that you're right. It's going to be murky. It's going to be a disaster, and it's going to be something that I certainly myself wouldn't want to try to figure out.
Thankfully, that is not our job. Our job is to say, here's what games are happening, and we'll be there. That's the extent of YSN's obligations. We don't have to make these decisions that are put really under a microscope, but if you really take a step back, probably not the easiest decisions in the world to make.
Yeah, not at all, and it's not one that I envy at all. So, yeah, going forward, just you hope that we make the right decisions and we have as complete of a season as we can. But just gonna have to take it day by day from now.
So once again, Latonia versus Matthews football game tonight has been canceled. That just coming into us here on Running Point, breaking news on YSN that game will be no longer being played. When you look at that, that means one less team on the schedule, but still plenty of teams remaining playing, and you can see them all on ysnlive.com/live. That'll be our list of all the games we have. So make sure to tune into that. Also, if you want to just jump around with us, don't forget about the Audible call with Mike Hackelson coming up at about we go live at like 6:50. Try to catch all the kickoffs, and we'll be just hopping around from game to game, trying to get as many scores live on the Audible call as possible. So whether you want to watch one team or all of the teams, YSN is your place to go tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be the place to go. As DJ said, free going forward too first. So you can see all your football teams that we have covered going forward. And we have a lot of games on the docket tonight too. So it should be exciting, even though there are a couple of cancellations, still a lot of football games going on in the area.
I feel like we need one of those commercial voices to be like, free tonight on YSN, free.
There you go, Anthony. We found you.
Have free just like flash across the screen in very loud, obnoxious colors.
Yeah, because that's what we're about here, is being loud and obnoxious.
Oh, yeah. Loud and obnoxious on Running Point. That's all what we're about.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
You know what? Maybe loud and obnoxious, but also very informative. Let's just go with that.
We try to
We have our moments. We have our moments, guys.
We try to be. Going forward now, got one less game, but we still have a lot to make our picks on and preview going forward.
And it's a perfect segue because next we're going to take all the games in the area, and me and Ty are going to pick every single one of them that will be on YSN, and we're going to have a fun time. That will come up next after this quick commercial break on ysnlive.com. Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. With our combined 70 years experience and comprehensive wealth strategy, we assist our clients attain their goals. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealthadvisors.com. Good luck, athletes.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Bad credit, no problem. I can get you approved for a low-interest loan and maybe even a low-payment lease on a new car at the #1 Chevy dealership in Trumbull County for 3 years in a row. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved or come see me, Tony Page, to get a new vehicle today. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman. WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Custom order your Ford your way at Tri-State Ford. Choose the available features that fit your life and style, from the all-new 2022 Ford Maverick F-150 Lightning through the entire Ford lineup. Pick your color, trim level, and options. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. Start your custom order today. Stop in or visit tristateford.net. Customer-focused, community-driven. Tri-State Ford, East Liverpool.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. It is time, Ty, to make our picks of the week. Week 2 coming at you, and we start with Austintown Fitch traveling to Canton McKinley. This will be your game. You're going to Canton McKinley for this one. So since it's your game, preview it and then make your pick.
Yeah, this is no doubt going to be a very fun game too. Austintown Fitch coming off of a big win against Cheney and a big defensive performance by the Falcons, as Deshaun Vaughn was huge in that game, coming away with 3 picks. Expect that defense to be strong again this week against the Canton McKinley offense that's going to be coming at you at all facets, running and passing the ball. But if you've heard Deshaun Vaughn's warning after the game, he warned Canton, don't pass the ball on us. And you heard that warning, and I don't know, Canton McKinley might want to take that warning into consideration going into this game tonight. tonight because the Falcons defense last week was pretty dynamic against the pass.
Who you got winning
For
it?
me, I got the Falcons in this one.
Me too. I'm going to take Austin down Fitch. I think their role continues. I don't see them dropping this game. I don't see them dropping many games this year, to be honest. They looked very impressive, and I think the concerns that some people had for them coming into this season were well put to bed in week 1. So I am high on the Falcons. They win this week on the road against Kent McKinley.
I think so as well.
So next on the docket, Beaver Local travels to Salem to face the Quakers. Beaver Local 0-1, Salem 1-0. What do you think about this one?
I think Jackson's gonna continue his role. I think that was a huge win last week for Salem, and I think they continue the role. I'm sorry, Mikey McKenzie, but I think you not being there for the Beavers is gonna help or gonna hurt them this time around, and it's gonna help Salem. I'm gonna go with the Quakes in this one.
I'm right with you. I think the Quakes are something special this year. Jackson's going to continue his very good season, and Salem wins quite handedly tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Beaver Local is going to make it a fight, but I think Salem is a situation where if Beaver Local gives up a turnover or two, Salem can run away with this.
Boardman travels to Cheney, the site of YSN Primetime yesterday. One of the marquee matchups of the week. What do you think about this one?
This one's a very interesting matchup for me because I think both these teams are going to be very good. I think Cheney, now that they've been able to adjust from Hewlett to Galt at quarterback and have a week of practice at that, I think Cheney's going to be a lot more improved. I thought Galt was very good, very sharp on his passes towards the end of the game with the Falcons. And I think also going forward, I think having J.R. Tellington, Jace Austin-Mill, being the two primary backs for Galt to hand off to, I think are going to be dynamic. And we already know the defense of having Clive Wilson on that edge is going to be huge too. I know O'Horo did do a lot last week against Mooney. I don't know if he has necessarily the same success. I think Cheney is pretty upset about the way last week happened. You heard Coach Emil saying he needed a win for Youngstown. He needed a win for Cheney. Everything that could go wrong went wrong last week. I think they're pretty pissed off coming into this week, and I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I like what Cheney's doing. I like Coach Emil. I think he's one of the best, a class act. We saw a great interview with him yesterday on YSN Primetime. I just think it's too much to adjust to in 1 week with the Spartans looming, especially with how impressive both Boardman's defense and offense looked last week. I'm going with Boardman. I think Cheney will bounce back. They'll be fine. They'll get their wins, but not yet. Boardman's gonna make a win tonight.
I want to see Boardman just put it up more consistently. I want to see O'Horo be a little bit more consistent. Not that he wasn't consistent last week. I want to see him do it another week. I want to see him do it a multitude of weeks. And Boardman, you're slowly making me a believer because I thought that last week game was going to be a lot closer than it was. And your defense was dynamic. And I think you're going to need to have a dynamic defense against Cheney tonight too, because I think their speed is still going to be incredible. And that's the biggest thing. Don't let them turn the Jets on you, because if they do, they're gone.
0-1 Camel goes to 1-0 Louisville. The Rockets and Vinny Ballone's high-flying offense looking to take on the Camel Red Devils. What can you say about this one?
I'm a Vinny Ballone fan through and through. I think Vinny Ballone is a very talented, very special quarterback, and I think he's going to lead Louisville to new successes as a football program and successes that Louisville hasn't seen in some time. I think Vinny Ballone and the Rockets pull this one out.
Yeah, I think Louisville's offense is too much for a young Campbell team with a lot of talent, but still some growing pains. I'm going to take Louisville as well tonight to win in this MVAC cross-tier matchup. You look at the next one, Cardinal Mooney going to Hubbard. We talked about this one in depth with Anthony Romo yesterday. And now it's time to make
not really a need to go into depth with this one again.
Time to make the pick. I mean, what do you see from this one, and who are you going with?
From what I saw and from what I heard from Romo yesterday, Mooney has dominated this matchup in the regular season. But, all good things must come to an end. I love that Cardinals program. I became a fan of both Mooney and Waterloo over the basketball seasons, and I do love that Cardinals program. But I do think Hubbard's going to be something special, and I think TC Caffey I think with Mooney, with what they allowed to O'Horo last week, if that's something that's not shored up, I think Caffey is going to have one heck of a game tonight. And I think him being a weapon and him just being in the backfield alone creates enough of a threat that it might open up some other areas for Hubbard. I think the Eagles take this one.
And I think it's time for Hubbard to get the monkey off their back that is Cardinal Mooney. They finally get a win over them in their program history. Cardinal Mooney's defense I don't think you can fix that much that quick, to go from letting Sean O'Hara go over 300 yards to bringing in someone who ran for over 450 the next week. I don't think they're going to be able to contain TC Caffey, and he's going to have another big night. Hubbard wins this one, in my opinion.
And I think Mooney doesn't really care about that as much because Mooney's always been a second half team anyway. Mooney's one of those teams that they play better towards the end of the season and they get ready for the playoffs. They schedule tough for a reason, so they're just testing themselves. So I wouldn't take it too seriously or too personally, I should say, for Mooney if they don't come out and win this one. But that's the thing with Mooney is you can never really count him out.
This one won't be on the network, but we're still going to pick it. Champion going to Rootstown. Champion trying to bounce back from getting beat up by one of the best Division 7 teams in the state, Warren JFK. Still kind of high on Champion. What do you think to expect from them against Rootstown?
I don't know, man, because I don't want to be the bad guy, but Champion looked like they got beat up bad against JFK going into this game. And I don't know if Champion's going to be able to recover well enough. I don't know if they got themselves healthy enough again. Champion, though, they're going to be – I think that this is going to be a competitive game. I really do. I think Champion might be in it a lot more, but I do think Rootstown's going to take advantage of Champion's rough week last week against JFK, where they faced some rough and tough JFK style football. Champion did survive it. They held their own against JFK in the trenches, but I think they're definitely going to be feeling it in this matchup.
Really hard to judge a team when they're playing in JFK when you watch them. I mean, they were just so outmatched. It's hard to really say where they're at after that. So I'm just going to go with where I thought Champion was coming into the season, which I think is on an upswing. So I'm going to take Champion to bounce back against Rootstown and get the win. I think they'll take their lumps from JFK and they'll learn from it. I'm still high on Champion, so I'm going to go with the Flashes.
I think it's a good pick, and I think the Flashes do have a very good chance at responding this week against this Rootstown team. I'm questioning if they're going to be healthy enough or how beat up they are from that JFK game, if they're going to be able to respond against a pretty talented Rootstown team.
Two teams looking to bounce back after week 1 losses. Columbiana traveling to McDonald. What do you think about this one? And both teams' prospects of trying to bounce back after week 1 losses.
Yeah, this is actually a very interesting matchup because I thought McDonald was going to do a lot more against Brookfield defensively than they did. And that was not the case. But at the same time, I also thought that Columbiana was going to be able to keep up with Louisville, and I didn't think Louisville was going to be able to put that much up on Columbiana. This is actually going to be a very interesting matchup because both these teams, like you said, Anthony, coming in at 0-1, but I think both these teams have a lot to prove coming into week 2, and both these teams not necessarily need a win, but a win would definitely do a lot to boost their confidence going forward, and I think this is an interesting matchup because I think both these teams are pretty even. But for me, I still have a lot of questions about that McDonald offense against Brookfield, and I have a lot of questions about McDonald's defense against Brookfield. I think Columbiana performed well enough offensively against Louisville's defense that they have a lot more to take away from last week's game than McDonald did. And you try to find the positives to take away from week to week. I think there were a little bit more positives to take away from Columbiana's loss than McDonald's. I think Columbiana and the Clippers are going to take this one.
It's really hard to imagine McDonald going 0-2.
I know. That's the thing. I can't. That's hard for me to imagine as well.
But I'm going to go with you and say Columbiana just looked a little bit better off last week. They have more going for them, and I think they go on the road and put McDonald in that 0-2 hole. in this young season.
I want to see McDonald respond, though. I want to see them come out and play that McDonald style defense that we are so used to seeing, that rough and tough 'em defense, and effectively shut down the run game completely and force them into one area of offense. And you could just defend and game plan for that. That's the McDonald style of defense that we're so used to seeing. And that's what they need to get back to. And they need to be that rough and tough 'em. You need to get Columbiana a little bit scared to play you offensively. So that's what McDonald, I think, is going to need to do. But 0-2 for McDonald. The good thing is being in D7 for the Blue Devils is that they can definitely come out of that hole if they do fall to 0-2.
Crestview struggled in week 1 against Salem. They're going on the road this week against Struthers, and a Struthers team that looked very impressive against St. Thomas Aquinas. Do you see those trends changing this week, or is Struthers still going to really impress?
Struthers was one of those teams that coming into this season, I was very excited about, and I think they were one of those teams that was going to be very improved from last season to this season, and I think it's going to continue on again. I think the Wildcats are going to come away with this victory, and I think it's going to be a close game. I do, but I do think that with Crestwood coming into Struthers, I think Struthers is going to.
Sorry, is it? Oh, it is Crestwood. I skipped. We'll just do Crestview Southern next. Both are Crest.
Which one did you say? Did you say Crestview Southern?
I said Crestview versus Struthers. I missed.
Oh,
that.
so you flipped them.
So
Okay. I thought I
yeah.
heard Crestwood, so I was just going with.
Right. No, you're right.
I heard Crestwood. Okay, maybe I heard wrong then, but I heard wrong, but it was the right answer, I guess. So it was one of the. You got the wrong formula, but you got the right answer anyway.
TGIF, man, TGIF.
Yeah, but anyway, I think this Crestwood team is gonna. I think Struthers is gonna, with them being home too, and I know that Wildcat Nation is so huge on Friday nights. I think that's going to be a huge determining factor for Struthers over Crestwood.
I think Struthers rolls tonight. They looked so impressive last night. I don't know if they're there at the NE8 yet to be at the top of the NE8, but they're definitely good enough to take care of Crestwood. I think they roll tonight.
I think maybe not at the tops of the NE8, but I think they are definitely on that upswing.
So now let's go back up to Crestview versus Southern. And the Rebels trying to bounce back after a loss. Southern 1-0 after the win over Edison.
Yeah, and Southern looked really impressive last week. And you know what? I think Southern, honestly, is going to continue to roll. I think Crestview is still trying to figure out their whole offense. I think they're going to be definitely improved from last week, but I still think there's going to be a little bit more that they need to figure out and get comfortable with in the game plan. I think Southern's a little bit more established. I take Southern in this one.
I'm right with you. I think Crestview has just too much to figure out one week against a very good Southern team that looked very good last week. So I think Southern wins this one over Crestview, especially since the Rebels are going on the road.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a fair thought too. With Southern being at home too, I think Crestview having a lot to figure out from last week and being on the road, I think it's just going to be a little bit too much.
Canfield goes and hosts Dover, a team that they went to Dover and beat pretty handedly last year. Both teams 1-0. What do you think about this game? I know dramatically different wins as Dover won in really emphatic way, and Canfield was in a battle with Poland.
Yeah, and we talked about this matchup a little bit too yesterday. We had Richie Giuliano preview it, so I'm not going to preview it anymore. I picked the Canfield Cardinals.
Yeah, I can't get off the Cardinals train right now. I think it'll be closer than last year.
I think so as well, but I still think Canfield has too much.
Dover looked impressive in week 1, but I think Canfield just too much defense. They'll slow down that tornado offense, and they'll be okay.
I think so as well. I think Canfield just has a little bit too much all around that they're going to be too hard to overcome.
And then I popped off of that screen. The next one, East goes to Warren Harding. East 1-0. Warren Harding 0-1. They lost to Medina in week 1.
So I will preface this, okay? I picked against East last week against East Cleveland Shaw. And the Golden Bears, you guys proved me wrong. You proved me wrong, and you impressed me with the win. I'm not sold on you yet, though. I'm not. Here's the twist. If you can go out, I'm picking the Raiders just because they're that AAC powerhouse. They're that team that knocked Fitch out last year. They're the ones that Fitch can't get off their back, and they're always a thorn in everyone's side in the AAC. So until I see someone start knocking them off, I know Warren lost last week, but they always schedule up to, and they're a tough opponent. If East pulls off this victory, I won't pick against the Golden Bears again the rest of the season. I'll say it right here. East, I pick you the next 8 games. If you win this game against Warren Harding, I pick you the next 8. No matter who the matchup is, I'm Golden Bears all the way from here on.
Since you were the bad guy, I have to be the
You have to be the good guy. You believed in the week 1, Anthony, and I almost did. I almost fell in. I was like, I need to see it one more time.
Got to be the voice of reason. East with the big upset in Mollenkoff Stadium. Let's go Golden Bears.
And I mean, this is an upset alert in the making because East does have tremendous athletes. And you know what? Warren Harding is a team that they play that tough competition all the time. They play tough schedules. This is kind of a game that they might be looking at thinking that this is a cupcake game for them. And if Warren Harding's looking at this as a cupcake game, it's going to be very dangerous for them because East can come in and upset you. But I want to see the Golden Bears go up for the upset. It's not the team I want to win necessarily, but it's the team I think is going to win. That's why I pick Warren Harding. Prove me wrong, East.
Girard goes into Liberty for the Battle of Belmont reinstatement. It hasn't happened since 2018. Liberty 1-0 after the dominating win over Western Reserve. Girard 0-1. They dropped to Streetsboro. We talked about this one in depth yesterday too. Talk real quick about this game and then who you're picking.
Yeah, this one was really, really interesting game. I think, you know what, in this matchup, too, I kind of have a feeling I know who you're going to pick. But the reason I'm going to pick opposite of you is just because I think Liberty last week was able to force turnovers. And I think that's really what contributed to the win. I don't know if Liberty's able to do that against Girard. I know Streetsboro was able to do it, but Girard was contending with one of the best teams. I think Girard figures out how to finish games. I think Girard has a lot to take away from last week, too, and they need to be improved. They need to get a win under their belt, and I think they're going to be able to go into Liberty and get the upset victory.
I am rolling with the Leopards. Let's go. I'm high on them. I love the Leopards right now. I love what they're doing. 30-12, emphatic win over Western Reserve. It wasn't just the turnovers. They finished their drives. Cunningham had a big day. Venters had a big day. I think they win tonight against Girard to move to 2-0.
I think it's fair to think that too. And I mean, I was torn between this one. I was like more 55-45, but I think Girard is going to come out with a little bit more energy. And I think they're going to come out with a little bit more of desperation going to try to get this victory.
Indian Creek moves to East Liverpool. The Potters 0-1. What do you think about this one? And can the Potters bounce back from their week 1 loss to West Branch?
The 3 teams that we cover in the Buckeye 8 and Edison, Beaver Local, and East Liverpool all lost last week. So one of these teams is looking to establish that dominance and get that first win out of the teams we cover in the YSN school. We already know Beaver Local with their tough matchup with Salem, and Edison unfortunately not being able to play this week. This is a prime opportunity for East Liverpool to grab a victory, and I do think they're going to be able to get a victory at the Potters versus Indian Creek. I think this is a favorable matchup for East Liverpool.
I agree. It's a bounce back opportunity for East Liverpool. I don't think they put their best foot forward last week, and I think they do it this week against Indian Creek. The Potters win this game at home to go to 1-1. Let's go to Jackson Milton traveling to Newton Falls. Both teams 1-0. Newton Falls won handedly over Waterloo. Jackson Milton won over Hilltop down at Toledo. Not traveling nearly as far, but still on the road for Jackson Milton.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Jackson Milton really did do a good job of scheduling themselves up, and I think they that travel schedule all the way across is going to help them come playoff time. But I was really impressed with Newton Falls last week, and you know, Newton Falls at home, they're a different animal too when they're at home. And the Tigers, I think for Jackson Milton, I think they're going to be able to get this home victory too, even with Jackson Milton coming into town.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. Jackson Milton didn't look as sharp as I expected them to on Saturday, but I can also apply that to the fact that they went all the way to Toledo. It tends to wear you down a little bit, that kind of road trip. I think Jacksonville's just in a better spot, and I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and they very well might. I think Newton Falls might be in line for the win.
And you look at the next game in our schedule as we go from Jacksonville to Newton Falls to Jefferson going to Painesville Harvey. Jefferson looked very impressive last week. Can they repeat that performance?
Yeah, you know what? Jefferson did look very impressive last week, and Jefferson's one of those teams that I think is going to be very improved, honestly. And it's going to be, I think, an interesting game too, because you got a coach coming into, I think, his second game. Yeah, it would be his second game because it's his first season overall. So this is going to be a team that I'm kind of excited for what Jefferson's been doing over there too. I'm excited that I think they're going to pull it off 2 weeks in a row. I really do.
Couldn't agree more. I love what Jackson Milton looks like. I loved how dominant they were last week, and I think they go on the road and beat Painesville Harvey in a game that won't be on the network, but we will keep updated on as the night goes on.
Yeah,
Another
Coach
game-
Hanna. But Coach Hanna, sorry, as I wanted to just cut in there, Coach Hanna coming in and, he really he's one of these new area coaches, as we have a lot of new area coaches anyway, too, in the area. And we do need to get him on Running Point at some time, because I think his coaching style and everything, I think what he is doing over at Jefferson, I think he has a very interesting story, and it's one that I definitely would love to hear more of. And I think he's going to be able to turn around this Jefferson program and get them to the promised lands.
Lakeview had a tough time last week. It doesn't get any easier. They traveled to Garrettsville Garfield against the 9-1 team from last year, and Garfield 1-0 with a dominating win in week 1 on Sunday night. So what do you see about this one? Can Lakeview be more competitive than they were last week?
I think Lakeview can definitely be more competitive than they were last week. I think LeBray was game plan for them. But with that being said, Garfield is coming into YSN. They're coming into the MVAC. Like, you must have forgot about us up here, because they are bursting through the door and they're going to make emphatic victories, and they're going to stomp out opponents that are taking them lightly. And if you aren't taking them lightly, they're still bringing their A game. And I think they're just going to be too much for a lot of teams to handle this year. And I think they're going to be one of the most competitive teams, especially in that MVAC. And I think Garfield's going to take this one.
Yeah, Garfield, way too much, in my opinion, for a Lakeview team that's trying to figure themselves out a little bit still. I think Lakeview will be better than last year, but not necessarily to the point where they're going to beat Garrettsville Garfield.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Lakeview is going to be improved, but I think Garrettsville Garfield they're going to be a very good team this year.
Talked about this one early on the show. Louisville travels to Poland. Who do you got in this one, Ty?
This one's going to be very interesting, because I thought Poland. I picked Poland last week over the upset against Canfield, and I thought their defense did play very well against Canfield for a large majority of it. But the problem is, if they don't shore up that passing game or that passing defense a little bit, it's going to spell nightmares for them. And I just really like the offensive and how dynamic AJ Ligenholt is for the Leopards. This is the first time we get to see the Leopards. They don't come down towards the Youngstown area too much, so you get to see the Leopards for the first time. But I think they're going to put on a show. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a battle in the trenches, but I do think the Leopards are going to pull off an upset.
I think Poland bounces back from the loss in week 1. They did it last year. I think they're a good team. They're going to do it again this year. They're going to finish their drives. And if they would have finished their drives last week, they might be talking about a victory over Canfield.
Yeah, and very well could be. And I think it's the same thing for Louisville. I think Louisville had opportunities to really play better against Barberton too. And I think some things just didn't go their way. I think both these teams are going to have much improved weeks. And I think it really is one of those 50-50 games where it really can go either way.
Niles goes to Lions. Red Dragons looking to bounce back after a loss in week 1. What do you see from this one?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup for Niles, because I'm curious on how they're going to respond. after the week 1 loss, and what areas they're really going to try to improve on, and what areas we're going to see the improvements in for Niles. And honestly, Alliance is going to be a pretty tough opponent. They usually are a pushover opponent by any means. So I think this is going to be one where if Niles isn't coming in ready, it's going to spell bad for them. And not being able to score last week against a Howland defense that was very good against them too. I think honestly right now they need to get out there and they need to get some points. Niles does, to get some confidence up. This is a hard one though, Anthony, because Alliance, they've usually been a pretty solid team, and I just need to see a little bit more out of Niles. But I do think you're going to see an improvement in them. They can't be held scoreless forever. So I'm going to pick the Red Dragons in this one over Alliance.
You know, and in my opinion, I think Niles, they didn't get a score in week 1. They're going to get a couple of them in week 2, and their defense still very impressive. I think they're going to win this game with defense and enough scoring. Not anything electric, not anything eye-popping, but enough scoring to win this game. Their defense is solid.
Yeah, their defense was very good, holding Howland to just 6 points on the 2 field goals too, and that was a very good Howland offense as well. So Niles needs to hold on to the backs of the defense, but they just need to get something on offense to help them come out with a victory over Alliance.
We are going to take a quick break, be back with more picks next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
Custom order your Ford your way at Tri-State Ford. Choose the available features that fit your life and style, from the all-new 2022 Ford Maverick F-150 Lightning through the entire Ford lineup. Pick your color, trim level, and options. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. Start your custom order today. Stop in or visit tristateford.net. Customer-focused, community-driven. Tri-State Ford, East Liverpool.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, everyone. This is DJ Yokley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue our Friday picks. And we already, we left off with Niles and Alliance. Let's move on to Ravenna. Your neighbors going to Howland to play the 1-0 Tigers. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, they're going from my neighborhood to Howland's neck of the woods over there in Warren. And Howland, I'm really high up on their defense. Ravenna coming in 0-1 after a 35-7 loss to Talmadge. And Ravenna is one of those schools too that are usually a pretty solid program, but I think they're going through kind of a rebuilding year, honestly, right now. And I think Howland, I'm pretty high up on their defense right now. I need to see a little bit more on their offense, but they do have a pretty good kicker in Ashley Macias that provided the difference in that game last week for them. So they have a kicker that can kick it from 24 to 30 yards away, and that's pretty nice to have that, and that's pretty confident if you're a high school team. But I think Howland needs to be a little bit better offensively this week, but I do pick the Tigers in this one.
I pick them too. I think their defense is strong enough to take pressure off that offense, and they'll get their first touchdown of the year, maybe multiple touchdowns. They'll win over Ravenna.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Howland is in prime position to come away with another victory and start off the season very impressive 2-0.
And when you look at the next game on our slate, Springfield goes to Brookfield. We talked to Randy Clark earlier this week, and we've talked about this game, and it's hard to pick. Where are you leaning on this?
This is a very hard one to pick for me because Springfield is Springfield, and they don't usually miss a beat. They're not a team that you count out. They're a team that until they lose, you take them as the top team. South Range exposed them a little bit last week. They did. Do I think Springfield's going to improve on that? Absolutely, 100%. Coach Guerrero is going to make sure that he has his guys scouted for what they were struggling with. The offensive line is going to need to be better for Springfield, though, and that's the biggest thing going into this game, and I think that's the biggest question mark in the whole game, both teams, and that's what I mean wholeheartedly. I think Brookfield is so shored up on offense, so shored up on defense. I think Brookfield knows exactly what they have and what they're going into this game with. I think Springfield's the only team that's going into this game with a question mark, and I think it's on that offensive line. Do I think that offensive line can be better? Do I think they need maybe a couple of games to adjust, fit an offensive plan? Yeah, that very well may be so. But right now, we know that offensive line struggled a little bit against South Range, and Brookfield, their defensive line is fantastic. Their offensive line is even better. It's going to be a battle in the trenches. I think Brookfield has a slight advantage in this one. I think Brookfield is looking to make a name for themselves. And I think bigger than that, I think Brookfield being at home is going to be huge in this matchup. I'm going to play Brookfield in this match.
This might be locker room material for Springfield.
It very well might be. And you know what? I want to see the Tigers prove me wrong.
If it is, then great. I mean, we were happy to help, but I'm picking Brookfield too. I think the glaring differences in how both these teams looked and how they looked against the other's strength. I mean, you look at, the glaring struggle for Springfield last week was their offensive line. The glaring strength for Brookfield is their defensive line and the way they're able to stop the run. I get Springfield's a different animal than McDonald, and Springfield is Springfield, and and they're gonna be better than they were last week. But I can't get off this feeling that Brookfield's gonna win.
I have that same feeling, and I've had that feeling. It just feels like an energy and an aura surrounding that town, and them being at home is just going to mean so much more. I do think Springfield is going to be vastly improved again, because they are still going to be a great team. But you got to remember, going 2 full seasons that far into the playoffs, it's going to do a lot on these kids' bodies too. On top of the fact that these kids also play on deep runs in the basketball team, and some of them on the baseball team, so it's going to do a lot. Some of them might be tired, and it might be fatigue that becomes an issue after a certain amount of time. But I think the biggest thing is right now for Springfield is, we all talk about the Springfield narrative because they lost in a heartbreaker in the state championship game, and that was a heartbreaker. But we're not talking a lot about Brookfield's heartbreaker and that shootout versus LeBray that ended with the Warriors falling to the Vikings, and we all know how hard those two teams fought that one out. Brookfield also had a heartbreaking loss last season. Yeah, they didn't go as far into the playoffs as Springfield did, but Brookfield still is pretty upset about how last season ended, because they definitely think they could have made a stronger run on it. I think with all the experience that Brookfield brought back, pretty much the same team as last year, and everybody's improved, Brookfield's going to be one of those teams that I think they might be trying to grab the brass ring, and they just might this season.
United travels to East Canton tonight. The Eagles looking to stay dominant. They looked really good in week 1. Do you think that continues in week 2 for United?
United wants to stay up because they can't miss a beat in their conference. They just can't. They're going to need to win, because it was tied between 3 teams last season. It's going to probably be a 3 to 4 team race again this season. But you know what? I think East Canton, despite everything that they have, and despite the fact that United is on the road, I think United looked really, really well. And looked really good all around, offensively, defensively. I think they handled Minerva extraordinarily well. I think I'm going to expect the same sort of success from United. Might be a little bit more competitive against an East Canton team, but I definitely think the United Eagles come away victors.
I can't look past how good United looked last week. I can't do it. United gets to win on the road. I know it's a long road trip, and those are tough, but it'll get them ready for the playoffs, and the road trips they will inevitably make in the playoffs. So I think United gets to win tonight at East Canton, and they go to 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I think United going to have a little bit stiffer competition, but I think United is looking to make statement wins.
Next, South Range. They host University School, I believe, for the first time in program history. University, a Division II school, but I believe they lost last week. What do you think about this matchup? South Range trying to stay hot after their big win over Springfield.
Yeah, I think South Range is probably one of the hottest teams in Division 5 right now after upsetting the Springfield Tigers at home with Les coming back. And everyone, I think, picked Springfield as the favors in that one just because Springfield had their quarterback and had pieces coming back, and South Range didn't. But South Range made a big, emphatic win. Dylan Dominguez made an emphatic statement on the victory too, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing going forward. I think South Range has the potential to be a 9-1, 10-0, 8-2 team right in that area, and I don't see them losing to University School tonight.
Me neither. Home opener for South Range. I'm not worried about them staying even because of how good of a coach Dan Yeagley is. He's going to have them ready. They're not going to get 2 big heads, and they're going to be able to run the ball at will against University. I think they're going to roll tonight.
I think they will. I think they will as well, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing, home opener for South Range, and you can't count them out ever.
It's also a Hall of Fame night as they induct members of the Hall of Fame, and that's always an added boost of energy as we move on to Ursuline, going to Pennsylvania to play Hickory. We talked a little bit about this matchup. Let's make our picks.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup because Hickory last season being 8-2 and going into this season, they're a very tough team. And like you said, out there, and I believe Hermitage, PA is where they're located. This is also Hickory's home opener. I don't think they played last week, so it's going to be tough for Ursuline. The biggest thing I'm worried about Ursuline this week is their defense, and they're going to need to shore it up. But the good thing is on Ursuline is they have plenty of offense to back them up and plenty of offense to get them out of defensive struggles. They're going to need to be improved on defense, and that's one area I want to see them improve on, but I think the Irish continue to roll.
Yeah, I think this is a road trip for sure, and it'll test them. But I can't go against Ursuline and what all the weapons they have, all the skill they have on offense. Going to be way too much. I think they'll probably score above 40 again. I would be shocked if they didn't score above 40 in every game this week, so every game this year. So Ursuline offense does not slow down. I picked them to win over Hickory.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Hickory is going to provide a little bit more competition and going to give them a little bit more struggles defensively. But I definitely think Ursuline's going to have enough to hang in there with and still come away with a victory. I just need to see that defense be improved.
Waterloo goes to Streetsburg Franklin. This won't be on the network, but it is happening. So talk about a little about this matchup. I know we were high on Waterloo, but they got punched in the mouth a little bit last week.
Yeah, and Waterloo's still trying to build that football program up, I think. And I think that's the biggest thing in Waterloo is they're just trying to get this football program right, and they're trying to get things figured out. Big thing is, though, I think going against Strasburg Valley also losers last week, 48-8 against Conneton Valley. This is a match too. I know it's a way for Waterloo, but I think Waterloo is going to have a little bit better of a game. I think Waterloo is going to be able to come away with a victory over them.
Yeah, I got to say Waterloo gets the win tonight. They go to 1-1 on the year. We were high on that program, and we continue to be high on that program. We're going to go to the fan line here as we have a phone call. And you are live on Running Point. Who do we have?
You got Emmanuel, guys. How you guys been doing?
Hey, Emmanuel. Good to hear from you. How you doing?
I've been trying to reach you, but I guess the phone was busy.
No, that's on me, Emmanuel. I completely missed it.
Yeah. The deal is this, right? 3 quick things. Number one, congratulations to Howland's field goal kicker. In the history of Ohio high school football, that's the only game where a female scored all the points. That was great.
That's confirmed there too. That's amazing.
Yeah, great moment for women athletics, and this is, I believe, Women Equality Day. So great job bringing that up on Women Equality Day, National Women Equality Day as well.
Well, it's not as good as that interview you had with that young lady from Niles. That was pretty good. But I don't know if you guys see. I follow Hickory. They got a pretty good squad out there, and I don't think Ursuline can outscore them. Ursuline is going to have to start playing some defense. And the third thing is, I've been talking to people about this, and I'm from Warren. I'm a Raider. I have a history of playing against Cardinal Mooney. Now, I understand that, what Hubbard has done, and I have a real soft spot in my heart for Hubbard. I love Hubbard. I just like the guys ever since Beck was coaching them, and I got friends out there. But if they're not ready for this Cardinal Mooney team, they might be in trouble because Cardinal Mooney, they have a tradition and a history of 3 or 4 generations, right? And they don't want to be the first team to lose to Hubbard. They're 14-0. You look at the schedule of Cardinal Mooney plays. You look at the guys they went up against. I'm not saying Hubbard is not a good team. I think Hubbard is a great team. But I've seen a lot of 9-1 Hubbard teams, great teams, lose to Cleveland Benedict team, and they were better than Cleveland. So this is a statement game for Hubbard. And I'm here to tell you, if they're, and I'm saying it on the air, if they're not careful, Mooney will blow them out. So Hubbard has one thing to think about and one thing only. That's the game they're playing tonight. All the noise, right, they need to cancel out. Because I know one thing about Cardinal Mooney. The worst thing you can do when you're playing Cardinal Mooney is have everybody think you're going to beat them. The worst thing you can do against Cardinal Mooney is get those boys fired up. That's the worst thing you can do. I've seen some real good Warren teams get beat by a Mooney team that only won 4 games.
That's very true. And when you talk about Cardinal Mooney, I think the one reason why I picked Hubbard this week is just because of the struggles with the run defense last week against Sean O'Horto and Boardman, and the fact that Hubbard has a running back that's just as impressive in TC Caffey and an O-line that looked very dominant in week 1.
I've seen them stop Lynn Bowden. I've seen them stop Maurice Claret. I've seen them stop a whole bunch of real good ones.
Not these kids.
Okay, what I'm saying is this, right? I'm hoping, because like I say, I have a soft spot in my heart for Hubbard. I'm hoping that they can finally break through, right? And get the respect that they're due, because it's a great program. It's been a great program. But I'm here to tell you, they are stepping up. And let me ask you a question. How healthy is Baumgartner?
You mean Brungard?
Yeah, Baumgartner, yeah. How healthy is he?
As far as we know, he's good. He's healthy.
So it was just cramps, or what was it?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, because he didn't really look healthy against South Range. He really didn't. But when he was out there, they couldn't stop him. So I think they'll go as far as Baumgartner take him. That's just my personal opinion, because he's the man. He's just like the player that the quarterback that JFK got, when JFK took him last year. And they're a good team, but he is the straw that stirs the drink. And for my money, he's a better quarterback than what we faced in Medina. Because that guy in Medina, we beat him up, and he beat us with our legs and with his legs, and we had some turnovers. But Baumgartner, he should be in the running for Mr. Football. He does everything. He's a five-tool athlete. So if he stays healthy, they're making another run.
Couldn't agree with you more. A big test in Brookfield is their offensive line is going to have to hold up for them.
Well, Brookfield got they got another big running back. Brookfield keep those tanks back there. Guys, 200 pounds, they just rumble, bumble, and stumble, But I can't wait. Football's back. I'm loving it. And you guys have a great weekend.
Emmanuel, thanks for calling in. We'd love to hear from you.
I love when Emmanuel calls in. Such great takes on football. And, he's one of those super fans that just keeps up with the whole area. He knows so much about history of teams, too. And you know what? Shedding some light, too, on that Cardinal Mooney Hubbard game, because it's easy to look at the numbers and say that Hubbard is easily the team with the advantage. But you're right. There's a difference between a great team and a great program. And Mooney, through years and years, has built this prestige, this tradition, this honor, and this program. And they're never a team you could count out. And that's the biggest thing for Hubbard. That's why Hubbard has never been able to get over the hump. I want to see Hubbard get over that hump of Cardinal Mooney, but don't think that Cardinal Mooney is just going to be a pushover tonight. As also, too, looking at this, I think also we have, two other matchups we have to look at. The next matchup is going to be West Branch at Woodridge. And as good as Woodridge, I think, has been, I'm very, very high up on the Warriors this season. I think West Branch, with their offense averaging over 43 a game last season, I think their offense averaging over 40 a game this season. I think they put up 47 in their last week's win. I think this is a West Branch team that their offense is so dynamic. It's able to score in so many facets. And the scariest thing about West Branch is they're an improvement on defense, and I think it's just going to be too much for Woodridge to handle. I think West Branch is going to continue to roll, and the Warriors are going to get another victory, score another 40-plus point game.
Woodridge escaped a lot of mistakes last week. I don't think they can do that again. I'm taking West Branch as well.
I think West Branch is going to be able to put up 40-plus points. Maybe Woodridge is able to hang with them, but I think the Warriors are definitely going to be able to put up the points again this week.
And the last game tonight, Middle Ridge at East Palestine. This is a newly scheduled game after both teams had their week 2 games canceled earlier in the season. So they just decided, hey, let's square up with each other. What do you think about this one?
This is one too where I think it's interesting because we get to see a new matchup for this week, and Mineral Ridge going to East Palestine I think is going to be interesting for both teams too. East Palestine getting to stay home with it, and both teams coming off of losses. Losing to Pie Valley last week was Mineral Ridge, and of course I think East Palestine. Who was it that they played last week? Their name's slipping me. That's right. Yeah, that was what it was. I couldn't. The name was slipping me. I couldn't think if it was Malvern or Minerva, but Minerva played another team we had earlier. But yeah, I think going into this one, I think Mineral Ridge is a little bit further along in their rebuilding process as a program and a team. I think Mineral Ridge is still going to be able to take this one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Middle Ridge just a little bit at a better spot, a little bit more developed, and they're going to get a win to bounce back after their more competitive than 22-7 would demonstrate loss to Pymatuning Valley. I think they win over East Palestine this week, and they go to 1-1.
I think so as well, and I think they're going to get a step in that right direction for the program for the Rams.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our pick'ems for this week. Be sure to check out the Power Hour where those boys will also pick this week's games. And then after the Power Hour, don't miss Audible Call starting at about 6:50, as we'll have Mike Ackelson in the studio, and we will jump from game to game to game to make sure we get as many scores live on the Audible Call as possible.
I do think a certain coach for a Trojan team would be pretty upset if we didn't talk about his game on Saturday.
You know what? I forgot that we're not coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm so used to us coming back. I think about a couple of games that are going on Saturday. We need to run through them real quick.
You're good call, Ty. And we do have a couple of games going on. Let's start with Sebring versus St. Thomas Aquinas.
As it is, actually, it's going to be. I think it's at Ashtabula
St. John. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. No, you're good. Ashtabula St. John. Quinn and Betos are going to have this game, which is going to be a fun tandem on commentary. I'm excited for it. I think Sebring. They're upset they couldn't play last week. I think their first game now. This is their opener. I think Coach Seidel is going to have them ready. I'm picking the Trojans.
I'm right with you. I think Sebring's been spinning their wheels for 2 weeks, and now they're rearing to go, almost like a Scooby-Doo character when they're about to run away from a bad guy. Their legs are turning, and someone finally let them go. And Sebring is going to be able to win this game at Spire Complex with Quinn and Jeff on the call.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Sebring going to start out the season very well.
And then you look at the other Saturday games as we go into LeBray at Valley Christian. LeBray looked so impressive last week. Can they continue that trend?
I think they can, but Valley Christian also looked very impressive with a 36-6 victory over Campbell Memorial. And I do think Valley Christian is going to continue to be competitive. And I think Valley Christian is going to have a step up in a successful season. Unfortunately, they do have to run into a week 2 matchup with a very strong, very competitive LeBray team that is returning a lot on offense and has been improved on defense. I think the LeBray Vikings are going to take this one, but I do think Valley is going to be competitive with the Vikings.
I'm taking LeBray as well. There's too much to stop. Too much for that defense at Valley to stop for LeBray's offense. So I'm going with the Vikings. Last but not least, we have Western Reserve at Warren JFK. JFK looked, what do you even call that last week? It's beyond impressive. Phenomenal.
I think they looked phenomenal. They were as phenomenal as AJ Styles. They were more phenomenal than that. They were phenomenal all around. And you know what? I think Warren JFK is one of those teams that is going to be able to get back to where they were last year. And if not replicate the same success, I think you improve on the success. And if you know where JFK finished last year, you know where I'm talking about. And I think Western Reserve got surprised by Liberty last week. And I think, David Altier, I think is going to still have that great game, but that defense of Warren JFK is going to be so good. I think Western Reserve is just really hoping for a home game coming up here soon as they want to get off of the road. I think Warren JFK is going to be too strong in Warren. I'm going to take JFK in this one.
JFK way too much in this one. Western Reserve looking to bounce back after a less than standard season for them, but this one is too high of a mountain to climb. I'm picking JFK.
I think so as well. I think JFK is going to be one of the kings of Division 7.
So now that wraps up our pick'ems. And once again, Power Hour coming up next. They'll pick, and then Audible Call coming up about 6:50 with Mike Ackelson. So we'll be back Monday from 12 to 3. Until then, thank you everyone for tuning in. Power Hour next on ysnlive.com.